right, there we are. Yeah, we're good. We're live.
Oh,
Hello.
are we? Funny story.
Yeah, actually, I would not mind starting out right off the bat with actually an update and further comments on something we covered not too long ago,
Uh-huh.
the Macherino story with Arturo Sanchez.
I saw that there was an update on this,
Yes,
but I
so
don't know what it meant, what it was. So I'm glad that you can actually. Can you break this down for me like I'm a moron?
I have some details, of course. There's to the best of my ability, I think I can give the update across, but I think it's important to cover because, especially considering the way things looked, of course, new information comes out, you get more perspective, and then you see how things shake out, and
Mm-hmm.
looks like it's a bit of a different story, right? So, I don't know if, well, I'm just thinking of how we just covered Helena Taylor and all that, and the way that turned out. But in
It
this,
goes the other way too sometimes.
yeah, it certainly does. But anyway, in this particular case, again, it's you can react, but information is good. So here's the information we got. Basically, the initial accusations were such that Macherino dropped Arturo Sanchez.
Mm-hmm.
They stated that it was due to financial misconduct, and then uh, later, and then after that, accusations were made from, I guess, like Bum, Bifuteki, and D Nice, who there were allegations that like he was stealing money and that there was basically like shenanigans going on with like pots and payout. When looking at the brackets, you would see situations where his name would be inserted into the top name for the certain slots to pay out to himself, and then people were then paid through PayPal afterwards, or sometimes it was unclear, not whatever the case was. So that basically was just obviously a huge blow up that was like, yo, stealing money in a situation where people are like donating to support a pot is awful. And considering how many events would be run, you know, by art and such over the years, it just led to a lot of, organizations being like, yeah, okay, I think we're not going to work with him over what's happened here and the way this is going. So what has basically happened since then has been TOs have gone over their metrics on everything in terms of the financial statements, the payouts, and such. Players who've won money as well have gone over their uh, payouts and have basically been reporting in that no money is missing. The discrepancies that have been seen could be attributed to PayPal fees, it seems, in some cases, but for the most part, there's nothing that hasn't been paid out. The main thing that seems to be uh, the issue is there was late payments, right? And that was something that when he came on his stream, which was again it was a stream that went pretty rough, and then and then he deleted it afterwards, and it added fuel to the fire. Certainly, it was definitely a bad look, but the he did say at that point, he's like, yeah, late payments was absolutely something that happened, and that was a part of what was going on, but the um, stolen fees accusation and such was more dubious, and that's obviously a bigger claim. And it seems like, from what people are writing in on and checking in now that they've had a chance to go over years of archives of payments, they're seeing nothing missing. So, yeah, it seems as if essentially the Macherino statement about misconduct could have been due to the fact that there was a late payment system involved, or even just the idea
Mm-hmm.
of him paying out to himself. Because and there's different discussions about that, because this is where it gets a bit unclear as to why the payout to him directly through Macherino and then to people through PayPal later. There was talk about like taxes, where through Macherino it gets taxed right away. Through PayPal, it perhaps wouldn't, or I don't know about that side of it, but at the very least, the term misconduct could have referred to like the late payments and paying out,
Hmm.
directly to himself and then giving people back the PayPal transfers later. And it could even refer to, of course, the late payments, but it seems like when it comes to actually stolen money, that might not be the case.
Are you familiar with the term performative innocence?
Um, no, but the words imply.
Okay, so performative innocence is maybe I'm doing something that I'm not supposed to be doing, and I will perform like hyper virtuosity in order to like soften that. This situation, when I was going over it, seems to be the first time I can think of seeing what I would call performative guilt, in which this actually sounds like everything was probably fine, but every single fucking thing that came out of every single person's mouth made them look so fucking sketchy. Like earlier, you said the stream went bad and then they deleted the stream. That looks so fucking bad.
That looks really bad. And the thing on the stream, of course, where there was like, hey, can can people see the PayPal readouts and such? And, there's a lot of like, yeah, the live stream response to kind of then go into like a transparency, but then it doesn't end up being transparent, just ends up looking pretty bad, admittedly. Like that's rough. But the I guess the bottom line ish is I guess that like the people who dealt with the money, like people like Chris Matrix and such that have been running tournaments and have looked through again their finances, and the people who got the money, Sonic Fox, Kill Sage, number of players who've looked at all the finances, they're like, yeah, it all squares out, and so the idea in the end is like it wasn't on time, and that perhaps could be the main takeaway there. But the theft accusations were, yeah, they were not true. So uh, it's a bad one, but I'm glad that at the very least, like you have the pitchfork reaction certainly, and you have like I'm the type of person that's just like, okay, I just hope that we can get people giving updates and info to these types of situations, because yeah, it does suck, especially when you look back on, again, Arturo Sanchez has been around in the community for literally forever, and like I said, it's been over this reveal, there's been like a thing of like, yeah, there's like 1,800 I think events over the last couple of years that he was running and stuff. It's like there's so much there that it's like, man, the idea that this could be bad is fucking depressing. That's, like I said, I got pretty sad at that. When we were talking about it last time. So, yeah, just want to give an update on where that's at the moment.
I feel on the assumption that Arturo is actually, I'm not gonna say in the right, but like totally fine. Because being in the right on a thing would be whatever, but he's actually totally fine. I feel really bad for him
Yeah,
and the way that this totally got handled out, especially since the accusation like blow up of like, hey, this dude's stealing money is gonna like reach way farther and way wider than anybody going into the nitty gritty after the fact.
yeah, and this is one of those bits too where it's like, uh, I, I mean, it should be obvious to anyone who's been around at this point, but like, I'm not a fan of like half reported stories,
Hmm.
I really don't like that shit. So sometimes if I feel like there's more to hear, or there's probably more to something, it's not necessarily going to be on the docket if there's more to it, so when something is like in its phases of like, oh shit, this blow up's happening, and then it basically ends up being something where you're like, yeah, this looks pretty bad right now, we gotta just wait and see, but right now it looks pretty bad. At the end of the day, I feel like that goes back, and I mean, with the Helena Taylor thing is one thing, everybody was watching that like piece by piece, and it was unfolding, tweet by tweet. But in stuff like this's case, it was almost like, yeah, obviously it just looks stupid when you're like, oh yeah, fuck this, blow it all up, and again, pitchforks, yada yada, but the information is not all out there yet, so um I yeah, I hate it. I don't like that shit. You can never know, of course, because it can always end up just being exactly what it sounds like, and then worse. And especially when there's people that are like, um, when people allege that wrongdoing has occurred
Oh.
to them, right? You want
Hmm.
to be sympathetic to those claims. So I feel like by nature we tend to do that. But there are times when me personally, I like to just wait and hear if there's more to a story, you know, before fully going in.
I don't know how to respond to that. Okay.
Yeah, no. So I'm just basically putting out how, like, because the way it came up when we last talked about it, I guess it was just like, like, oh, yo, this blow up is currently happening at the end. And I was like, yeah, it was happening. I was kind of, like waiting to hear more about it. But I guess if we're going to go into it now, I don't want to, like, make any hardline statements that I can't fucking prove because I don't know because I'm just hearing about it from other people's tweets.
Well, I mean, at the time, even had I not brought it up that day, the next day Team Spooky dropped him, which would have been newsworthy in its
Abs
own right.
That would have been newsworthy,
And then
certainly.
the discussion becomes, why did Team Spooky drop him? And then you're right back to where you started.
Yeah. And now we're, I guess, we're seeing the part 2 side where it's like, if we're gonna uh see, I guess, well, there's Spooky, and then there's the other, well, the tournaments and the other organizations and stuff that were kind of like, yeah, we're not going to work with art from now on if that's going to get updated or so. It seems like a number of them have reached out, and I think he's been retweeting about that stuff. But I think as well he's kind of mentioned, like, yeah, not doing super great overall this, but is like, going to try to work on the better handling of money and transparency side of things, certainly. But at the very
Is
least,
the
like,
core of it just that like some payments got held and then like paid out like a month late or something?
I mean, it's hard to fully say because individual people's relationships from a working perspective can get soured over different types of things. I mean, there's like lateness is, there's been like times where like art would show up late on stream to things and stuff,
Hmm.
and so like there's definitely all kinds of personal dynamics between people, but when it comes down to just players and money and such, it's like, okay, that has nothing, that has, you can, like, whatever's happening privately between people, it's like, no, you can't have the people who are owed money getting fucked over in any way. So that, and I think the Macherino statement kind of like not 100% like it was left up to interpretation to some degree, then
Hmm.
led to like these sort of accusations. But like, if their whole grounds was based on him against the self payouts and the late payments, that's still grounds for them to say, hey, we don't want to work with you, like that. If
Hmm.
that's their personal, if that's the way their TOS works, then that's still grounds for it. But when it's left to interpretation afterwards, and then it becomes about people's individual stories, then yeah, that can take on a narrative of its own. you know um, anyway, so I just wanted to address that off the bat, and give the update, since we did previously talk about it. And and if anybody heard that part and then doesn't hear this part, like, well, fuck, I hope you eventually do, I suppose. But yeah, that's what's going on there.
I will say one thing somebody just pointed out in the chat, which is considering all the people that were involved at various organizations and whatnot, and now that you said people have gone through like the entire transaction log and saw and kind of
Yeah,
like,
they've done audits of the tournament, like, money over
so
the last
smoke
couple of
but no
years.
fire kind of situation.
Yeah.
In that context, it is a little strange at just how lightning fast everyone was ready to drop him. Like usually, like this is not a murder or a sex crime, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's financial shenanigans or malarkey, which could have been like calmly investigated, while not letting him touch the money while they were doing that,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like, just don't touch the money while we go through the thing and check, right?
Mm-hmm.
But everybody just like lightning fast
I
was
think,
ready to announce dropping him.
well, because I think it was the announcement of that in as the first catalyst, followed by, wait, what happened? What's going on? And then the rest of the story got constructed. But the initial one being like a tweet of like, hey, this is what happened. There was misconduct, and that's why. Um, yeah, there's things that you can handle in private, especially if there's numbers you got to go through and shit like that. It probably would have been better for either A, that statement to have been handled after all the uh, um, auditing had been done, or B, for something like that to at least specify the nature of what the misconduct includes so that it doesn't go on to, um, you know, get false accusations involved, right? Yeah, yeah, odd one. Um, anyway, that's one thing going on this week. But hey,
Anything lighter than that?
yeah, man, there's good stuff in fighting games. I had the welcome to my new
I
segment.
meant like in general.
Okay, welcome to my new segment. There's good stuff in fighting games. This week I had the pleasure of doing some commentary for the Strive Beginners Bracket, which takes place over on Sajam's Discord. And that was a lot of fun. Shout outs to Solid Bones, who was one of the Evo commentators that was doing stuff for Strive. And yeah, we did some co commentary over their weekly tournament, and they have a really smart setup, I gotta say. Like it's the type of thing that, yeah, it's the type of thing that like would I'd love to have or run something like this for just like letting new players have a fucking place to grow and flourish, but it's a beginner's bracket, right? So what they do is they run people who want to play some Guilty Gear Strive that are okay, so they check your profile out to see like
Uh-huh.
what level you're at with your
Okay.
characters.
So you mentioned beginner's bracket. My first question is, how do you make sure like super freak Smurfs aren't sneaking their way in?
Well, the first level of defense is that there's a range, right? And you also have to you can't be there's a level of minimum prowess also needed, right? Like if you're at floor 1 or 2, like just learning to press buttons, it like they're kind of seeing if you can like kind of get past that initial phase of just like learning how the game works,
This image in my head of playing a game against Sage and yeah, okay, you're trash. You can play. Good. I've confirmed that you are trash.
So what they do is they basically make sure that you're not too high up in your levels with any other character on your list, and it's generally people who are around floors 9 and 10 that like aren't really cracking celestial, um
That's 99% of people who
that's
play Guilty Gear
there's a
Strive.
lot of people. There's a lot of people there, and the journey up to that 8th or ninth floor, can go quickly if you sort of you go train a little bit and learn how to do some cheap stuff, So, but that's yeah. There's a lot of people there that like really want to feel that improvement and have put some time in, So, um, and it's also like it's a great level of strength for like um for showing off, like I guess the way I'd put it in like Dark Souls terms is like different builds where if somebody has like no offense, like no faith or whatever, but they've got a fuck ton of stamina,
Hmm.
or different things like that where you just see like, okay, different people have built up a basic game plan. They don't have the full thing, and sometimes someone will be like, "Yo, that guy's way too good. What's up with that?" And then they're way too strong to compete. I mean, what's up with that? And then like they'll get hit by something, do a bad burst, and then you'll watch them melt into a puddle.
Yeah, that's my favorite. I don't know what to call it, but fake placement. A place that I have existed in almost every fighting game at some state because I'm very aggressive. wow, this guy's really good. Yep, until it doesn't go my way once, and then I'm just gonna completely fall apart like a child.
Yes. As long as you're playing a one-player game where the opponent is not forcing you to do anything, you can look as stylish as you want to. But the moment you have to actually adjust to things, then it starts to fall apart. And you know, people who are generally failing what I call the knowledge checks, right? Like, you can fight everybody who's willing to run up to you and punch you, but can you fight Axel, who's cool to just sit back there and never get in? Can
I
you
think my
deal?
favorite recent knowledge check was when I was playing Street Fighter 6. I decided to play Ken last beta, and I got to enjoy the situation of I don't know what the properties on these Shoryukens are.
Oh,
Which which is the one that I use when I'm being rushed down on the floor?
yeah,
What's
yeah,
is
yeah,
it? Is it
yeah.
medium? It's usually medium. It's not me. Which
They,
one's throw invincible? Is it jab? I want to say it's jab, but I don't know.
so they've kind of gotten rid of those those different states for the Shoryus, FYI. Like, I think they're kind of universalized now
Yeah,
into
good. I know that. That's my whole fucking point.
yeah, yeah. Now it's just EX invincibility or not type of thing. But so what happened is, so Sajam's Discord, they run this every week. They have a Guilty Gear Strive beginners tournament. And it's really cool because so everyone enters. There's people that enter multiple times, you know, because your goal is to get to that top 3. And the reward for getting third place, second place, or winning first is you get fucking banned from the tournament.
Yeah, that's a great reward.
You
That
get
is a great
kicked the
reward.
fuck out. You've graduated. Get the fuck out of here. You're too good.
And you just stand on top of your metaphorical mountain and look down at everybody else in the tournament. You're all too weak for me now.
It's awesome. It's such a smart idea. Again, shout out Solid Bones, because what you end up seeing is people who get really, they start building their game plan. They improve a bit every week. They're not quite there yet, but they get to top 8, you know, and they're able to like push it, but they're fighting to get to that graduation seat, you know, trying to get banned. And like when the menace of the current tournament eventually wins, they all get kicked out, and now 3 new people who have been struggling are now the dogs to beat. You know, you've been struggling, you're just like that, 4th place, you're now the strongest in the group, and people are now afraid of you, and your job is to see if you can
Stay there.
make it out, you know. Exactly. It's such a fucking great motivational tool, you know. And yeah.
I have a question. What's to stop somebody from getting to the quarterfinals and then just fucking throwing it super hard
Right. And
so
then
that they can stay in the beginners tournament and
So-
then improve and stomp on everyone?
I literally made that joke because we were watching a really fun Soul player who was like doing some cool stuff and styling amazing conversions, full coast to coast, you know, east to west stuff. And we were like, yo, this dude's looking a little too nice here. Hold on a minute. And it's just like, he's probably thinking like, shit, I got to do some random heavy mob cemeteries just to throw them off the scent. You know, let's just do some wake up supers and see if they kind of go, oh, okay, no, wait, never mind. You know,
Oh, this is the quarterfinals. Oh no! Oh, the pressure. Oh, I'm choking.
uh-oh.
Oh, it's the pressure gets me every time.
Oh, what a bad burst. No, they have a sort of judge's rule of like, yeah, if the commentators look and they see you're a little too nice with it, they can kick you the fuck out. That's it. Like, they're like, nah, you're too good. You know, if I see you running any like any strong ass OSs, you know, I'm gonna raise an eyebrow. If you bait every burst, I'm gonna raise another eyebrow.
Did
And
this
then,
guy
you know.
react and bust out his super in 4 frames? I don't know, man.
But like, you can definitely see that people are nice enough to do their full combos, but not nice enough to not drop them once every couple of matches, you know. And you're like, yeah, that's good, this is what it is, man, you know. So that was a fun time. And yeah, I really, again, shout outs to the Sajam Discord over there. Go check them out. And if you wanna, get yourself tested, right now, that's a healthy ass thing. It was a 64-man bracket, so lots of players. Real fun part of this too is like, the healthier the game, the more of an interesting selection you're gonna have. Right now, if you're talking about like a game where people are all too good and you have a hard time jumping in online and just getting stomped on, this is a dedicated space for people growing and learning. And what you sometimes can see is in a tournament of beginning players, the high tier stuff isn't necessarily going to show up. The high execution high tier stuff, the happy chaos stuff, or some of that crazy Jack-O stuff, you're not going to really see that in these brackets. It's going to be a lot more like, down to the basics. Here comes Sol, here comes Kai, here comes Potemkin.
Who's got some good buttons?
Let's see what you can do, So yeah, that was a lot of fun. And I think that's up over at, Twitch TV, Solid Bones for the archives there. So I did that this week. Also, I'm as I'm patches behind and rusty as fuck, I had to follow the good old basics of getting back into commentary. Rule number one, don't mention frame data, don't mention numbers. Just go, oh, that looked pretty unsafe. and don't mention any numbers at any point at all. Not only do you lose everybody, but the people that you're not losing are going to be super confused and in fact might be like, you're wrong, actually. That's +5 now.
I was about to say the worst part about using numbers is you've opened up a million variations of being wrong instead of, oh yeah, it was safe, I guess it was.
Yeah. And anytime I've been able to do that in commentary, it's because like I'm in tune with a particular version of a game at a moment in time,
oh yeah, that used to be unsafe, but actually, Wooly, it's safe as of 2 weeks ago.
Absolutely, that happened a couple of times as we were playing. It's just like, oh yeah, after they made these changes or that, I'm like, oh wait, that does what now? Yeah, no.
You need to dumb it right down. Wow, that was a lot of damage. Big combo. Wow.
Color commentary. That's the deal. Yeah. Speaking of being displaced in time and not knowing the latest versions, I restarted Hades.
Well, luckily enough, you're now firmly in time. It was a very strange thing when that game hit 1.0, because after like 2.5 years of every patch going, new character, new weapon, new nothing, like literally ever since then, it's like minor localization change, bug fix for something you don't understand and will never encounter. And like 1.0 really meant it. That thing was done and ghosted.
Yeah, it was very interesting going back and kind of like doing a quick look at, my old stuff, and like I mentioned last week, seeing how that got, how far that got, and like essentially just how just unprogressible my point was. Did the first session, got back to where I was, the limit of where I was at prior, which was the Minotaur. And that, yeah, took a couple runs, wasn't too bad. The ability to just get those diamonds and aspects via Titan blood and stuff right away, just the fact that it's like every weapon is a free Titan blood to go get an aspect is like, yo, that's super handy. Yeah,
you have the 5 to start, which means what, you can upgrade one weapon to fucking max right away.
So, yeah, that I then went back, and was playing it a bit more off stream, and, started seeing all the shit that I had never seen. Right. So I don't know when it became a thing, but I met Thanatos, that I'm like, oh shit. Right.
God. Oh, that's right. That was like update 8 or something.
I was like, who the fuck is this? What's going on here? And then those types of encounters started occurring. And then made it to Theseus and the 2v1. That stuff's interesting. I met was it Perseus? No.
You're thinking of fucking Achilles' boy.
The guy sitting in the guy unnamed sitting in Elysium, and then
you met Pat.
You look at his profile, Patroclus. That's it. Yes.
Yep. Here from a disappointing performance in Soul Calibur 5.
Sure. Yes, SC5. And then onward. Beat Theseus and the Minotaur. Made it to Styx.
I hate Theseus so much, dude.
Saw that whole top level. Theseus isn't that bad. Once he starts calling down the gods on you, you adjust and such. But
no, I mean, I don't hate Theseus's boss fight.
Oh,
I
him
fucking hate Theseus.
Yeah. No, it's he's a proper douche. He's standing there being all what's his fucking face? Watchmen on you. The asshole from Watchmen.
Yeah. That good. That could be any character from Watchmen.
The one that looks like Theseus.
Adrian Veidt.
Thank you. Exactly. Adrian
the purple
Veidt.
one.
Yes. Ozymandias. That was interesting. And then basically I took it all the way to Hades Phase 2.
That's 99%.
Yep.
I love getting the first time I got to Hades and you fight him and you're like, I did it, and then he's got Death Defiance just like you do, and you're like, no.
Yeah, for sure, absolutely. And and it's a fight with ads that are there not just to annoy you, but because you might have an ability that benefits from ads being around,
or that I've had runs in which I had like a boss killing build. Like every single thing I have is single target to murder, and then a bunch of ads show up. I'm like, oh, this is a huge problem.
Or you can just focus on your money and then get to the Well of Charon and just buy yourself a diamond or buy yourself some Titan blood or some other objects that I can't identify yet. But that all came together fairly quickly, so it's like, I was always wondering, is it a damage balance? And it's like, no, it's not that there's a damage or like things did change in terms of enemy aggression and that stuff over time, but it really cements that it's like, no, but it's about the rewards you get, and you get so many rewards so quickly, starting from scratch now that you just blow past a lot of these initial challenges. There's a downside to that in which, I mean, I guess this is the only hope is that people would continue to do the new game pluses aggressively, because there's so much content in terms of dialogue that I remember all the entire time I was putting that time in the early access and stuff, there was new scenes between Hades and talking to everybody. There was tons of conversation. So you can
clarify something here. So first of all, one of the reasons that you said you cruised through the earlier obstacles, you have to remember you also knew how to play the game from the get-go.
Right.
The second thing is that they did plan for that in terms of beating the game, and you call them new game pluses, but the game calls it heat or whatever. And that they specifically planned for it is that beating Hades does not get you credits or an ending.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
Beating Hades a bunch gets you credits and an ending, and then after that, maxing out a bunch of different quests gets you an epilogue.
Okay. That makes a lot of sense, because there's so much dialogue and conversation and lore that Yeah, in this time around, since I got there so much quicker, I'm like, fuck me. I know how much is still behind this. You know, the idea of like missing out on that would be tragic because it's all wonderful. The conversations are so fun.
For context, I got the real ending around like run 60, I want to say, and then I was on heat 10 or 11 with every weapon before I got the epilogue.
And at that point, you're getting all that extra dialogue. You're getting all those little bits and pieces to scrape socially with the characters.
Hypnos has a line of dialogue for every single enemy killing you in the entire game. Like, he has ones for you dying of the poison. He has multiple for every boss and every variation for that's just Hypnos. It's silly.
Yeah. And then there's the, like, you know, the just alternating, like, almost like Persona, like, hey, this person's not around today, you know, so whatever, they're either off having a conversation with someone else, or, you know, but you're just not going to get to talk to them. So but all this, no, it's been super fun going back, and you know, I'm hoping to start fucking seeing a lot of that seeing more of that new shit. But yeah, in 2 sessions, I was able to at least, again, get to Hades Phase 2, and like, that is a far cry from the way the game used to feel. It is that, yeah, it certainly was not like that before. You know, you'd have to have immense amounts of fucking luck.
The only thing that I'm kind of disappointed about Hades at all, I kind of wish, I know it would be a nightmare for bug testing, but I wish you could be like, I want to see what version 0.2 like.
What to go back and
It's like version 1 of that game, the dash had no fucking invincibility. It was terrible.
Yeah, you can't. Problem is you do those version resets, and like, again, Karen goes back to not having a goddamn artwork sprite. Like,
yeah,
you know, like, it's not like going back to Championship Edition. It's a much more incomplete game.
Oh yeah, but from a curiosity standpoint, I would love to see, because I remember I was playing it, the update that the Minotaur came out. And like how nuts it was. Elysium, wow, it's huge, crazy, wow. I hate these shield guys. They're my most hated enemies in the whole game. I hate them.
They're bad. There's although there's one of the well upgrades is like, do you want the fire wheels to fuck off for like 8 encounters? You can do that. And you're like, yeah, you know what? I kind of do. I'm gonna spend the money on that. So yeah, that's going good, and I guess I'll, you know, check back in when things are moving further. So yeah, did that, and yeah, that's pretty much it, you know. So the 6 parts of the initial return to the game are going up as episodes over on Woolly Versus. You can go check them out. They're coming out now, alongside Mass Effect 3.
React Mass Effect. I'm curious.
We just met Grunt and his 1992 All-Star Krogan team.
Nice.
Fuck yeah. Happy to see him. Definitely, like, I remember our discussions earlier about, like, oh boy, here comes Not Rex, you know? And now that I'm here, I'm like, I love Not Rex. I'm really glad Not Rex is really
Grunt's
cool.
great.
Yeah, I was worried that it'd be like, oh, especially with a name like that, you're like, oh, here's the NPC to replace the main character that has died. And it's like, no. This is a fucking solid ass new character. Loving that. So
also a big fan of running into Grunt, and he's just like, yo, Shepard.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
he pops off, unlike a lot of the rest of the cast who are a little more calm about it.
And then the fucking game has a little, like, gotcha by the balls moment, you know. But yeah, Grunt's a fucking badass, and love him. He's great. So yeah, that was a fun little sequence. Yeah, that's pretty much that. So if you want to see more of that, go check out Wooly versus and Wooly versus the algorithm as well. We got shorts dropping, highlights and stuff. Gonna continue with more Mass Effect this week just to get ahead of the lag that we've had for a little bit. And then we're going to start our FF9, which I will confirm does have the Mogri mod and such as well.
Oh, what's that? What's the Mogri mod?
It's the mod that makes it super pretty.
Oh yeah.
Some reorchestrated music, and the cutscenes are upscaled to look a little crisper.
Holy shit!
Looks great. Looks great.
That looks way better.
Yep.
I remember I tried to get that working on FF7 or its equivalent, and I couldn't because FF7's PC port is like a rancid pile of shit.
Yeah. So what they did is they made a lot of the things widescreen. They made it widescreen. They used AI to upscale as well. And again, this is where it's like, you do it for good. This is where you can do it for good. And there's or reorchestrated music as well. And a couple other little tweaks and stuff. Some other people then went and started using that as a basis to do things like get it up to 60. But I took a look and I'm like, I don't like the way the game looks at 60. It doesn't strike me as an actual improvement, so I'm not doing that version.
Why don't you just interpolate the fucking frames and smear this anime all over the screen? That's like sometimes it's not supposed to.
And in the meantime, I'm gonna wait for a Nintendo Direct and see if they have anything to say about Front Mission 3. So yeah, that's gonna be coming soon. Keep an eye on that. Also, Wooly versus whatever. We just did another one of those, so stay tuned. And Gone in 60 Seconds, the newest season, also is going on as well. So yeah, hop on over to Wooly versus and click a thing. You'll probably enjoy it. What's going on with you?
Okay, so last week we were talking about card games, and I briefly mentioned that Marvel Snap looked like Teppen. At which point I was told, no, Pat, you are stupid. Marvel Snap is nothing like Teppen. So I downloaded it to see what the fuck it actually was. It is in fact nothing like Teppen. It is actually literally Gwent.
Okay.
It is you put the cards on the opposite sides and then the number goes up and the number that win is the better number.
Does timing matter at all?
Fuck no.
Okay.
You have like a minute and a half to play your turns.
Then that is not Teppen. Yeah.
No, it's not Teppen. In fact, I would go as far to say that it is anti-Teppen. It is the opposite Teppen. It is the mirror Teppen. It is the inverted Teppen. Teppen, a game that when I was playing it was like, oh man, I fucking love Mega Man. Oh, I love Jill Valentine. I don't like this. On the flip side, oh cool. Multiple Man? Who the fuck is Multiple Man? I don't give a shit about Multiple Man.
Now the gameplay is what you're here for.
Who the fuck is Angela? Who the fuck is the Marvel character Angela? I don't know, but she's in my deck because that card's really good.
So now it's, the gameplay is fun and the characters are who gives a shit to you.
Yeah, so the game is great, and it has a lot of things about it that I absolutely adore, like by far the most of any of the card games that you and I have played. But like, I'm sitting there and my wife Paige looks over at me and she goes, "You're playing a Marvel game?" And I'm like,
Angela from Spawn? Wait, what? I'm sorry. The Spawn character is a Marvel character now? Oh shit, I know who that is. Yeah, that's fucking. Yeah, that's she's got the wings and the big old pouches and the full on,
Yeah, she looks cringe.
It's everything from the Spawn supporting cast designs. They as action figures with some extra paint on them. They look pretty cool though.
So, the number one thing that draws me to Marvel Snap is that decks are 12 cards, no duplicates. It is like, do you have Blade in your deck? You have one Blade.
Hmm.
Blade costs one. He's 3 powered. He discards somebody. So this has led to a situation in which Pat, the deck building anti-savant, let's just say, has been able to go, I want to make a discard deck. Okay, I will grab Blade, I will grab Angela, I'll grab Mr. Sinister, I'll grab Apocalypse, etc. And I made myself a half decent discard deck that actually totally worked and I was able to play real games with. Something I have never been able to do in any card game.
You made your own deck.
Yeah. I've made a bunch of my own decks and they work. It
12
also
cards
has
is not a lot. That's actually seems like a pretty small, like,
it's super small. The
thing to work
matches
around,
are
yeah.
like if you and the person you're playing with are like making moves and you take like 2-3 seconds to figure out what you want to do. Matches are maybe 200 seconds long. They are like instantaneous. They are real fucking fast. There's 6 turns and that's it and you're
Wow.
done. It's like
Okay.
haha snap, but it is in fact actually a snap. It is super super fast. It is like when I'm making my coffee in the morning, I play a game of Marvel Snap while the coffee is pouring into my cup.
Okay. Is Snap a reference to Thanos?
Yes, but it's also the game's most interesting mechanic, which I will get to at the end. The other thing is that as you level up your cards, they don't get stronger, they just get nicer. So as you earn your currencies and whatnot, you go from a regular white bordered card, let's say Nightcrawler, to the first upgrade is a green rarity card in which Nightcrawler expands, the character in the center expands past the frame, right? Then the next one is that it's got that 3D effect that card games on your phone will have where you can kind of look behind it. After that, they get a shiny logo. After that, the card is holographic, and so on and so forth.
Yeah, okay.
And upgrading the look of your card is your method of progression. And that's the weirdest thing. The way that it works is there are 5 pools of cards. Pool number 1 and 2, as you go through the game's like progression, give you every single card in the first 2 pools, which is like 350 cards. So like there is a baseline of like 70% of the game's cards are like mandatory before you go into real matchmaking.
Like the basic sets, right?
Yeah. After that, you get pool 3, which is smaller, I think. I'm not sure. But then pools 4 and 5 are, listen, you can get these cards out of your season pass, or you can get them on a 1% drop rate out of the pack that you earned. And so it's this, like, you have most of the game's cards by far, like, automatically. But then when you're opening up your digital card pack, you're fishing for Storm.
So
let's say.
So card system design elements aside, what's fun about the actual like playboard?
The playboard is okay. So, the one thing that is similar to Teppen is that you have the 3 lanes, and each lane is a tiny game of Gwent, in which you're placing down high value cards to have a higher value than the other person in that lane. And they have all the on reveal or ongoing effects that you would expect from, say, Magic or Runeterra or something. So Nightcrawler, throw him down, he's weak, but you can move him to a different lane if you like. Hulk is a 12 power card, which is really crazy, but Onslaught makes anybody in his lane play their effect twice. Stuff like that. Like, basically, you're playing 3 very small games of Runeterra or Gwent. And the whole thing lasts, like, literally 2 minutes long. It is fast, it's snappy, it's easy to understand, and the final mechanic, the reason why it's called Marvel Snap, is at the top of the screen you have the ranking points. So turns 1 to 5, if you win, you get 1 ranking point. If it goes all the way to the 6th turn, it doubles to become 2. If the opponent retreats, and this is what brought this up, because last week we talked about forfeiting, right?
Mm-hmm.
So Marvel Snap, if you retreat on the 6th turn or before that, you end up losing less, right? You go, you're turn 5, and you're like, oh, I'm definitely going to lose. I might as well run now so that I only get docked 1 point instead of 2. The doubles
It
on.
encourages the early forfeit if you want to.
But on top of that, if you are positive you're going to win or you feel good about it, you can tap it and it will double the ranking points right away. And if the other opponent doubles it as well, it will double it again. So you end up in situations where it's a wide range of, I'm going to leave right now, I'm going to lose this game for sure. I'm 3 turns in, I haven't been able to play 1 card.
Poker. I'm out, I'm in, I raise, I call, all in. Yeah.
Or I'm dead certain I'm going to win, but so are they. And now instead you're swinging 8 rank points, which is definitely enough to drop me out of silver right now, for example.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And it causes situations where I tap it, and that causes it to double, and then they leave. Which, even if they retreated, because I tapped it, I still get double the points. And this is only for ranking, but it actually gives like a concerted, real incentive to, I would like to leave, I'm going to lose, I'm not going to waste everyone's time, versus I'm sure I can clutch this out in the 6th turn. So rage quitting doesn't exist. It's people quitting.
It's part of the mechanics.
It's forfeiting as part of the rules.
It's part of the rules. Yeah, that's interesting. Does when you play 2 cards and they face each other and one wins, does the winning card stay on the field?
Yep.
Or okay, and then you have to come in and challenge that and work it down. Okay. So
a really good example of this is Lizard, from Spider-Man. Lizard is costs 2, which is really cheap, but he's worth 5 power, which is really strong, unless there are 4 cards up opposite of him. So if you throw Lizard down and he's the only guy versus like Ant-Man or some shit, he's gonna do great. But if your opponent floods their side of the thing with cheap cards, all of a sudden your Lizard is garbage.
Okay. I can see this being a fun thing for you specifically, seeing as the decks have so few cards in them, because like Teppen has 30 card decks, Hearthstone has 30 card decks, right? And like when you have that type
of has 40 to 60, I learned over
I don't know
week.
I don't know what Magic does, but I assume it's significant, right? The stack, you see a pile on the table. So it feels like when you have that many, the synergies can become really, really multi-layered in depth, right? You can fucking go down like 5 layers of, I guess, option selects, I'll call them, where you're like, I'm going to put this out, and depending on which one of these supplemental things pop up, I'll be able to create a different like power, play. With the 12, it's probably really basic synergies that are like simple, easy, and like helpful to just kind of like that and that, bam, let's go. And then and you don't have to probably go too far into like the 3rd or 4th layer of it, because by that point the game is over.
You only have 6 turns.
Right. Yeah, that's it, right? Whereas like Teppen, when you're making plays that are based on, if I get to under 10 health, I have a whole other set of cards ready for low life play that I can start using, and that's a separate thing to consider,
So there is another level of synergy or meta or whatever you want to call it that's in play that I did not mention, that factors into your deck building, and that is each lane of the 3 lanes has a unique effect. You see the effect of the leftmost lane on turn 1, the second one, the middle one on turn 2, and the third one on turn 3.
Ah, okay.
and these run a wide gamut of effects. One is any card you play on this spot will die.
For both players?
We'll just, yeah,
it's
just
neutral.
die.
Okay.
Yeah.
Huh.
So you end up in a situation of like, well, I hope you played a card there before the effect popped, or I hope you have a card you can move there instead of playing it on top of it.
Oh, it's
right?
not.
So
It's not at the same time as the reveal. The effect comes in later.
the effect. So some effects happen on the reveal. Some effects happen permanently. So
Okay.
like if you, for example, have a thing any card you play on this spot dies, any card that's there before you can see what it does will get to stay. It's just cards that are then played onto that effect will die. You have ones where every turn that a card lives here, it will gain 1 power. You have one in which if you have no cards on this spot, you get extra mana per turn.
So there's a little bit of randomness to it. Are you shuffling through your hand of 12 and picking out your plays, or are you getting?
You're starting with 3 cards from your deck.
Yeah.
And then on turn 1 through 6, you get 1 extra card. So you will get 3 plus 6. You'll get 9 of your 12 cards by the end of the game.
Okay, you don't actually have a full draw. Yeah.
No.
Okay.
Which makes there's a card called a character, I think she was in the Doctor Strange movie, called America Chavez.
Yeah, America Chavez, yeah.
She is an okay strong card, but will always its ability is it always comes in on turn 6. It can't come in on any turn other than 6.
Okay.
And its strength is that it turns a 12 card deck into an 11 card deck for the first 5 turns.
Okay.
Which means you're almost guaranteed to get all the other stuff that you want.
That's it. That's interesting. I'm glad this has its own uniqueness to it. The most unique thing being again that 12 hand, because all the other things I've touched have been way more in depth.
It's so small, and the other thing is that they sell variants. So I have seen 3 different Nightcrawlers. There's the one that starts the game, which is a pretty standard Marvel art style. There's one that looks like, I'm not familiar with artists, but there's one that's like Kingdom Come looking thing. I know that's a DC property, but like a very like realistic Alex Ross kind of looking Nightcrawler. And then there's one that looks like it's from the Genesis game.
Okay.
And one of the ways that they incentivize you using those variants, which you buy on the store, is that the variants level up separately from the other cards. So if I have like a purple Nightcrawler right now, if I got the pixel variant of Nightcrawler, I could start ranking that thing up by itself and get further faster.
But it's all aesthetic.
Yeah, it's all aesthetic.
Yeah. Okay.
Every single there is no change to how a card works ever. It is all aesthetic, and there's a lot of aesthetic to it, which is nice.
So then where is the acquisition of new cards
So as you collect cards and as you upgrade cards aesthetic, you raise up what's called a collection level. I don't have the numbers correct off the top of my head, but like the first 280 levels will get you like all the cards in pool 1. And then getting all the cards in pool 3, I think, is you get up to level 480 something, right? After that, guaranteed cards leave, and instead, essentially a card pack is what you would unlock instead. Okay. And the card packs have currency, or the other currency, or a variant for your cards, like a visual variant, or a new card from one of the higher tiers. I have not gotten there yet, but I have been informed that Marvel Snap is incredible right up until you hit level 480, whatever it is. Because what happens is once you have every guaranteed card in the game, it goes okay and throws you into matchmaking with everybody that has all the guaranteed cards and then some. And the rarer cards that you get from that progression of the season pass are much stronger than the guaranteed ones. So you're playing and going like, boy, I hope I get the good Cyclops card or the
Yeah.
good Storm card to build around.
And it kind of goes from like a CCG to like a TCG, right?
Yeah,
Like,
so a really good example. Right now, the season pass is Savage Land, and there's a fucking somebody in the chat help me. There's a cat. That's the card you get out of the season. It's Kazu, whatever the fuck it is. Zabu. Do you know who fucking Zabu the cat from the Savage Land is? I don't know.
I can't say I do.
But Zabu is a 4-cost card that takes other 4-cost cards and removes 2 cost from them. So it takes all the other 4-cost cards and turns them into 2-cost cards. Which means if you play it, you get to like flood your fucking like 5th and 6th turn with tons of cheap, super fucking powerful cards. That's a really good card. That you can only get right now if you buy the season pass. And the way that they do it is that there's cards that live in the season pass, and then after a month or 2, they get kicked down to just being highly, highly rare.
Do you have to pick a deck color or like character to
No.
or is it just like anything goes?
No.
Okay.
Anything you can fucking do anything.
Okay.
Absolutely, just whatever the fuck. And as for the season pass, because it is so like being able to play this game long term is absolutely highly tied into getting that shit out of the season pass. It's very clear. That is $14 a month every month. So that is a subscription. However,
can you pay for it with progress?
What's that?
Can you pay for it with progress?
No.
Oh, okay.
The season pass is a battle pass.
Because Teppen
level 1 is you get the card, and levels 2 through 50 are all the other variants, currencies, bonuses, etc.
Okay. The Teppen battle pass is you can buy with in-game currency.
No. The way this one works is, you earn points towards it no matter what you're doing. It's just you get the paid stuff if you paid for it. You get the free stuff if you don't.
Yeah, the 2 lanes. Right. Okay.
I will say, for considering how like mandatory, like getting like I'm probably gonna get at least this season just because that stupid cat. I'll talk about this later. It's a good card and I'm enjoying myself. I've been playing for 4 days. I'm 31 out of 50. Like they have fast. They do the weekly thing.
Yeah.
When the weekly challenges are a huge proportion of XP. Yeah, I'm gonna have no problem hitting 50. Absolutely not. I actually really, really, really like, I would say, love this game, and I'm building my own decks and I'm having a great time. And I understand the way it's monetized, and I can be okay with that. There's only one problem for me, and it's a big problem. The big fancy card that I'm supposed to be excited to get as part of the Savage Land, I'm sitting here going, it's some fucking cat named Zahu. I don't fucking
right.
Who gives a fucking shit?
Yeah.
Like, I am literally, I'm dead serious. I am literally sitting here playing like 400 matches of this card game, pretending I'm just using the Marvel characters of a Marvel versus Capcom game.
I mean, I would assume the big Savage Land reveal would be Sauron, but
yeah, he's in there.
Yeah.
He's in there somewhere.
So something to note too, I guess, is like, when it comes to the ranking system, is it doing like an initial letter grading system and then into a true ranking, or do you know how that's kind of like
No,
handled?
it is a number.
Okay, from day one, you are a
Yeah,
number.
it is a number.
Okay.
It is like bronze is like 0 to 40, silver is 40 to 80, and so on and so forth.
Okay. Because I would say like you're especially if at the pace you're going, like hit that like top point, and then see how the game changes. Right. Once you are, once you start like again hitting these other levels and basically getting dropped into different pools of players, these games can change. You know.
Oh yeah.
Teppen certainly does. So, and like it can get better and or worse, you know, where you're in like you said, if you get to the point where you're at 400 whatever, and like you're not rocking the same options that they have at that point, that's not fun. But
Like I've seen some of the higher tier cards that I will not have access to unless I get lucky. They're good.
mm,
They're like build an entire deck around this card good. And
yeah,
so then you run into the thing of like I wanted some tips on how to build a deck, and you run into decks for pool 1, decks for pool 2, decks for pool 3, and after that is you want the Wong deck, you want the Storm deck, you want the Abomination deck, you know, and so on and so forth.
okay.
So where the fuck is Sauron in this piece of shit?
Yeah, well, I mean, hey, there's got to be like this thing is catching on, and you know, people are addicted to it the way I'm hearing about
Oh,
it. The
he's not
way
in here. Oh, weird.
I'm hearing about Marvel Snap the way I heard people talking about Hearthstone when it first came out. You know, it's
I want to say there's a reason for that. Like a highly specific reason. Ben Brode? Ben Brode. I believe it's made by Hearthstone Man.
same designer. Is that really the case? Yeah, then there you go.
Previously, he used to be the game director for Hearthstone.
That explains that.
So it's I mean so Hearthstone was a PC game that hit the phone. This is a fucking phone game. This is so much a phone game that on Steam, it's in early access. And I was like, what the hell does that mean? It means when you load it up on Steam, it just runs a phone emulator and gives you a
Drag
phone,
your mouse around.
a vertical screen and
Yeah.
tells you, hey man, the inbox and the season pass interface don't work on Steam. I know it's just the inbox, but the inbox just does not. So if you want to get things like there's the Lunar New Year thing happening, if you want to go get your rewards from the Lunar New Year, load it up on your phone.
Yeah. Also, you got to have your crossplay thing going. You're not going to have.
I believe it is supposed to be like a Runeterra or Hearthstone or Gwent, like fully featured, like completely unique interface kind of thing at some point.
If you've got a giant fucking roster of, you know, if you've got an IP with a lot of beloved characters, and you know, that's like, making a fucking really addictive card game is a current way to monetize that shit and do well. There's a lot of things you can do with it, but yeah, just pointing at Hearthstone and saying, "Hey, do one of that for us." That's cash, and that's
It does have a lot of gimmicks that are, I'm going to assume, appreciated for people that care. But like 9 out of 10s, I'm like, why does this person do this? So, do you know a fucking bald loser called Vatu the Watcher?
Yes, that's the Watcher.
Okay, I don't know who the fuck that is.
He
but what I
watches.
do know is that when I put him in my deck, I can see what all the lanes are going to do right away.
That makes perfect sense. That should be his ability. Uatu is basically the big-headed dude that he's among the race of the Watchers, and all the What If comics are like him peering into alternate realities and going, you know, like, oh, but what if we could look over here and see this version of events?
It's like I don't know anything about Namor other than he's not Aquaman.
Yes.
And that he wants to fuck Sue Richards.
And he did.
But I do know that if he's the only guy on the lane, he's extra strong.
Yeah,
I assume he's a loner.
Yeah, and he's a dick. He's a huge dick.
Okay. I really extra don't know who Devil Dinosaur is. Do you know who the Devil Dinosaur is?
I can't say I know about Devil Dinosaur now.
But I do know that he has +2 power for every card I kept in my hand. He's probably the best card I have right now. And I'm looking at this red T-Rex going, I don't know what the fuck is up with this. Like, I'm torn, man. I'm fucking torn.
There's some good
ones.
I get...
This is reverse Arcane. Arcane had people going, oh man, who's these League of Legends characters? I'm looking at Devil Dinosaur going, I double never want to read a comic book ever again.
But they're doing pulls like that specifically for the people who are gonna freak the fuck out and pop off when they see that shit. You know, like, sure, it could have been the entire cast of Phase 1 of the MCU, and then, like, you know, the cast of the X-Men. But, like, yeah.
Somebody just mentioned in the chat that Daredevil lets you see the other people play their cards.
Awesome.
While they're playing them.
Yeah.
That's...
But again, remember the energy when I come and I go, who the fuck is this random background Resident Evil character? You know, and it's just like, I wish I had that with this. I'm like, who the fuck is this? I don't know.
It makes me super pissed off. Can somebody make the longest, most illegal mod ever and just replace every single asset in Marvel Snap with all the assets in Teppen, please?
I mean, it's crazy. They've reached into, like, all the robot monsters. We've got fucking the X Hunters from X2. We've got just your Breath of Fire references. They've cut deep into the Capcom roster, but there's always like 8 random fucking humans with holding guns just showing up, like, and then it's that guy.
Was that Forest Fire? Is he weak to dogs or crows? Wow. I get it.
Oh, God. Yeah.
Yeah, good game. You might want to give it a shot. It's fun. I am super mad that they picked the wrong half of Marvel vs. Capcom to make this Marvel game with. That's how I feel.
I mean, it's also the thing that's gotten them a ton of money, and you know, people that are just Marvel fans looking for an excuse to jump in and can collect the rare shit.
Okay, well, that's pretty funny. Somebody just sent me a photo of Uncle Ben, the card, which is a 1-power card, which, if destroyed, puts Spider-Man into your hand.
Nice.
Which, okay, yeah. See,
that's good.
If I got all of these fucking references, I'd be like, oh, cool. But instead,
no, you want Billy Cohen.
I do want Billy Cohen
and Brad Vickers.
Does Brad Vickers have a fucking ability in Teppen in which you get to remove him, or he dies? I bet he does.
Nope, just deal 2 damage to a random enemy unit, then explore for ammo.
Really?
That's his deal. That's his deal.
That sucks.
Yeah, I mean, pick of the litter though, because there's Enrico Marini, and
what about Enrico?
Fucking who the fuck? What are we doing here? I don't know.
What's Enrico do?
Marvin Branagh.
Yeah, Marvin. You know Marvin?
Yeah. Okay, that's his last name? Huh.
Yeah, Branagh.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know, man.
So I will say there is actually one in regards to this. There's one really big problem with the game that I'm kind of shocked they didn't do. When you go into the card, like the deck builder or the card reader, and you click on a character, It doesn't even tell you where they're from. It in fact has no information about them at all other than their name.
Okay.
Like, that's a little strange. Like,
Yeah.
if I didn't know Cyclops was an X-Man and clicked on
Yeah.
Cyclops, I would not know he is an X-Man.
No, the lore bits are like pretty good, like things that should be in there. I really liked them in RuneScape. Not RuneScape, Runeterra. When you click on it, you get that full little paragraph with the art and shit. Like, yeah, do that to introduce it.
Yeah, so I'm gonna grab some random fucking loser.
I can't find it. Like, I'm going through all these. I'm seeing, yeah, Richard Eichen and Louisa and whatever. But there was somebody here that was like, one of these characters was a girl that was like, her whole thing as a card is to just die.
Yeah.
She shows up and she dies, and as soon as she dies, like, everyone gets powered up or something like that. Like,
is that Iris?
Oh God, I don't know.
So I'm looking at this. I picked up Moon Girl. I don't know who Moon Girl is. And on the card it says Moon Girl. On reveal, duplicate your hand. And that's it. I don't know if she's a bit character from Spawn or the star of her own series. I don't know. I don't have a goddamn idea. It's really weird.
Oh, yeah, okay.
She hangs out with Devil Dino and they're getting a cartoon.
Excella Gion shows up and fucking and dies or whatever.
Yeah, she dies in the back half of RE5 and you fight the big goo monster.
Oh, yeah, her. Okay, I remember who that is now.
So Excella Gion is like the ultimate proof of like Albert Wesker as like asexual, because she is like pawing all over him and like just rubbing all her bullshit all over him, and he's just like, ew, gross, give me more virus juice, please.
Well, yeah, but also she's not RE0 girl.
Yeah.
The little medic one.
Rebecca?
Yeah. Isn't that his deal? Didn't he have her photo?
He had her high school basketball photo in his desk. But that's before he became a super freak monster man. That shit probably killed his dick.
Who knows? Anyways.
I do! I just told you!
Maybe it made him not want it. But you know what? I can't even pretend. I have no follow-ups. So, got it. Marvel Snap.
Yeah, it's fun.
When does the actual Thanos snapping happen?
Whenever the fuck you want it to. You can play it on turn 1.
Okay. And it just kills half the cards?
What? No. No, in fact, it's fucking cringe. It's fucking cringe when you hit that button, Wooly. Because a man says, "Oh, snap."
Nice. Great.
It's fucking cringe.
What does it actually do?
I told you, it doubles the ranking points. It's gambling for your rank.
Oh, okay. When you said tap earlier, you said tap. Okay, snap. Right, but you're talking about the snap mechanic.
Yes, it's called snap.
Okay, I was just thinking of you tapping.
It's a gun, Wooly.
Okay, all right. You didn't say what you were tapping. All right.
What else? Not that much of note, other than the fact that me and Paige are still going through DMC, and my wife, Paige Peach Saliva, is excelling to her own strengths in a way that is now the most extreme I've ever seen it. Flying through Devil May Cry 1, effortlessly, almost no hit beating Nello Angelo 2.
Sweet.
Like no problem. And then not getting the S rank because she spent maybe 15 minutes not being able to figure out how to leave the room that you fight Nello Angelo 2 in.
Seems legit. Yep.
Go beating Griffin first shot on every encounter, spending like 20 minutes doing the platforming to get Ifrit. Don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
If there's something to be killed, the woman can't be stopped. Any attempt at navigation or moving the character around or solving a child's puzzle,
Well,
just complete disaster.
There's Souls games on the resume there, so that's combat-wise, that's absolute preparedness. But that camera is not gonna forgive you.
It's been a bit since I went back to DMC 1, and since we played it. Yeah, that camera's pretty bad. It's pretty bad.
Made for a different genre.
She had a moment. You remember in the sewers you fight that scissor guy, the super strong scissor guy in that tiny electrified room
where you can do the rolling. Yeah.
She got fucking super pissed, and that was easily the hardest time. And she has that moment that we all have where it's like, I don't want to come off like I'm shitting all over the game. I understand that it's me doing it, and like me and everybody else, like, no, that camera's fucking dog shit.
Yep.
The bad camera.
Yeah.
No, that's the game on that one. Bad camera.
Did you do the hokey pokey at the wrong spot of the map?
Yeah. And a follow-up. So one of the reasons, so we're doing Paige May Cry on my channel, and the reason for that is because Paige has a long history of beating difficult bosses that you would think are out of her depth, and then not being able to pick up objects for weeks because she's annihilated her wrists. She'll white knuckle it so hard that her like tendons will snap and her bones will break and catch on fire. So we're playing it on my channel so that if I get the inkling that that's happening, I can just slap the controller out of her hand and be like, no more. Okay. Hasn't happened yet. Actually, DMC is somehow much more relaxing than Bayonetta. Wouldn't have thought that, because I figured Bayonetta would be easier with the dodge button.
No, because it was also born in a time when the APM increased, right? Don't forget that the APM of 1 compared to 3 is fucking night and day.
Yeah. So I was talking about it, and I was talking to Hitchhiker, known DMC modder man, because if we continue, DMC 3, 4, and 5 have lots of mash inputs. In particular, DMC 3 has relatively stringent mash inputs to get a bunch of the moves out. So Hitchhiker went and created a custom Steam input controller profile.
Nice.
Specifically to get around the mash inputs. I put up a thread on Twitter on how you can recreate it. It's really simple. Everything works exactly as you would expect, but if you double tap square or triangle or circle and then hold it, it will mash it at 100 times a second.
Turbo and like initiated, yeah.
Turbo is turned on by double tapping the button. So I said, okay, let's see how this works, and played a couple missions of DMC3 and was like, oh wow, I never want to now play this without this.
Yeah.
Because this makes a bunch of stuff much more comfortable. It makes doing Agni and Rudra's mash trivial. It makes DMC, it makes it so that when I was playing DMC 5 with this control scheme, I could like rapid fire summon swords without having to worry about accidentally fucking doing the meter version of summon swords. I could just shoot it like a gun.
That's pretty good.
Like,
that's a good ass mod.
It's excellent. And all you do is you add an extra command to the button that you want, and then you put it to turbo, and then you make it so that the original button is not interruptible.
Which is basically like bolt cancels in Marvel. Yeah. Okay.
No, I got nothing for you. But like, I might want to actually fucking play Gunslinger now because
No, it's
Ebony
just
and Ivory's moves in Gunslinger are a pain.
the way that they made Dante's moveset fit into him as a Marvel character is by adding, when you double tap after certain inputs, it switches to a different move.
My God, yeah, because he's got so many goddamn
Exactly.
input.
So they're called bolt cancels, and you basically just do this and double tap it, and you get another Dante weapon because he has fucking all of them. Cool.
Somebody
That's
in
a
the
smart
chat
one.
asks, and I will do it. I will retweet that thread. Fucking somewhere. And last but not least, I watched the Puss in Boots movie.
Oh shit. Not yet.
That is a fucking great movie.
Yep.
Have you seen it?
No, but I can feel it, and I'm gonna get to it.
There's so much to like about it. It's I mean, it's the writing quality of something like Shrek, which is great. The animation is in places just as good as Spider-Verse. But better than that is it has like the two strongest villains I've seen in an animated movie in years and years. So everybody knows about the wolf and how the wolf is a fucking character action boss.
Yep.
Fuck him. Who cares? Fucking Jack Horner, the fucking freaky looking big guy with the pink hair that you may have seen.
Haven't seen him yet.
Yeah, great. The best villain in an animated film.
Okay.
He is a evil man that loves being evil, and that's it. You know that archetype? The one of like, I love that I am the villain of a story and I will shoot children and poison, like Kefka, like levels
storybook evil.
Of absurd pettiness.
Evil for evil's sake.
Oh, it's the best. It's the best. Love it. Good movie.
Yeah. I was really excited about that. Gonna try to get that taken care of soon.
There's only one problem with it. And it's a problem that I've been having with everything I watch on Netflix, as well as watching the X-Files and now Puss in Boots. So a lot of characters in Puss in Boots speak Spanish.
Yeah. Untranslated is what I hear.
Yeah. So you know what I really don't like? When I have the subtitles on and they're referring to a character by a Spanish nickname, I really don't like it when the subtitles go, "Hey there," and then bracket speaks in Spanish.
Yeah. Yeah. So I saw a couple of screenshots of that. That is a deliberate decision that they want to be like, either you pick it up or you don't, I guess. Like they wanted it to just kind of like it was a deliberate decision for them to go about it that way. Like almost like untranslated 4 fucking side text and shit like that.
So with X-Files, and you know there's some Russians talking evil Russian fucking alien experiments, speaks in Russian, I get it. You're not supposed to actually know what they're talking about.
The thing.
Right.
The beginning of the fucking thing.
Swedish, Kazai, right? In Puss in Boots, there's the dog, you know, the cute little dog character that you might have seen. He doesn't have a name. And this subtitling thing makes it really confusing because I don't speak Spanish. And Puss in Boots refers to him, what I now know to be the Spanish word for little dog. Like just, you know, it's a generic term. But not knowing that and just having the subtitle be translated to speaks in Spanish literally every single time they talk to this character, the I don't have a name plot makes no sense because they're calling him by what I thought his fucking name was the whole movie.
But it actually just means little dog.
Yeah, so it's the word Piero.
Okay.
In Spanish. And they're like, "Oh, I don't have a name. Chin up, Piero." I'm like, "That you just called him a fucking name. What is that?" I had to have Paige explain it to me. Because I don't know what the fuck. I don't speak Spanish. Fucking translate it. It doesn't make any fucking sense.
Well, maybe if don't assume it's Piero then.
That's like a name.
But that's still
That
your...
is a name in some languages.
It's a leap you gotta... It's not a far leap, but you're still making one. You know.
French, that's a name.
It is a name in French. Yes, Pierrot. Oui.
Like, what? I don't like it. I don't like it.
Because
if I
you're
have
listening,
the subtitles on, I want translations.
Because you're listening to like the sounds and you're trying to parse the sounds, and it's like you either speak it or you don't. But you're like, hold on, but I know some sounds, so I think I know what those sounds are. And it turns out you didn't. But like, you know, so you're putting a thing based on you grabbing what you can from the sounds, but you're not understanding the context of it.
Like, I understand you saying it's a deliberate decision. I hate it in every time I encounter it. If I have subtitles on, I want all the dialogue to be subtitled.
Because I mean, like, if you were watching something where like there was someone who like again, they were doing again the bit of the for plot reasons you're doing the Swedish thing in the thing, and someone just picked up the phone and it would just be like Obasan whatever. And it'd just be like, you're like, oh yeah, that he's calling that lady, her name's Obasan. And it's like, well, no, but like they're doing their...
So what I would expect to see in subtitles is grandma, hello, blah, blah, blah. I would not expect to see the phrase translated as speaking Japanese. Hey, how are you?
Okay. I can't say
infuriating.
I can't say without seeing the context of it, but I know that like as we gave with the thing example, sometimes it's warranted. Sometimes that you can creatively choose to not translate something and it makes sense. I'd have to see how it works in this case.
This is actually there's the opposite problem, which is just funny, where you see the subtitle and the subtitle is like muttering incoherently or whispering discreetly, but you can totally hear every single thing they're saying.
Yeah, absolutely, for sure. Or
but
like
that's it for me.
In video games, when you walk into a room and then a paragraph of a conversation is happening, but you're not anywhere near the people that are talking.
Yeah, I think it's annoying and strange. But when you're playing a game and the full subtitling comes up and you're like, there's no one here.
Mm-hmm.
You just happen to be within the 30-foot radius of a person in a different room and their subtitles kicked on. Like, that's a problem that happens all the time in like New Vegas or Skyrim or Oblivion, all those games. Like, wait, who is that?
Unique to video games as a medium. And of course the response is stand still, let it play out, and then walk forward lest you interrupt anything interesting, you know? Fuck yeah, Puss in Boots. Hell yeah. I love that. I love that one out of nowhere. It's just like, wait, what? Why? Okay. Banger. Cool. Got to do that.
I'm excited for what the movie seems to set up, that there will be another Shrek movie in the near future.
One would have to imagine that the Shrek franchise is far from over. Everybody involved loves collecting paychecks.
Yeah.
I gotta pee.
Yeah, I also have to go. The cat shit himself, so I'm gonna have to help clean that up. I might be a little bit longer than normal on break.
Fair enough.
See you soon.
All right. Uh,
You would be astonished at how strong a 14-year-old, 11-pound cat can be. It just took me and Paige to give that cat a little bath, because he is strong as shit.
oh, I remember long ago I saw some footage on real TV of a cat that didn't want to go in a box, and it wrapped itself around an officer's leg, and it death gripped him, and it was like it looked like the jaws of life had snapped down on his leg. It was insane.
Well, wasn't so much that, so much as him just going and just trying to get out of the bathtub. So that was a one person hold him, the other wash the elderly cat's butt with the water and soap. Cat is clean. Fucking pissed off, but clean.
Does is I was yeah like the someone was really recently describing how it's like you never know what you're gonna get, but like in a lot of cases you can have a dog that's like loving the water, loves the shower, as long as it's like a comforting sort of massage experience for them. But
Yeah,
getting
some cats like the bath. This cat is a regular
getting the
cat.
cat to like the bath
Just
is
don't like.
yeah, yeah, okay.
Yeah, weirdly enough, the dog is like we got him a kiddie pool a couple months ago to like, oh, it's the summer. You can cool off in the kiddie pool. Terrified of water. Terrified of water. Which like is appropriate because bulldogs can't swim like at all.
Right. Yeah,
They just sink. They just fall right to the bottom of the ocean.
yeah, that makes
But
sense.
I was like, oh, the dog can lay down in the water. It'll be cool. No, doesn't want to. Fuck it.
Might just go
Ah,
face first into like an inch of water.
yeah,
Yeah.
basically.
Okay. Take a quick word from our sponsors. This week on the podcast, we are sponsored by Stitch Fix. Stitch Fix is the company that's gonna get you looking sharp. All about improving your wardrobe to do things and get you that drip, that ever out of reach drip that you can never get to because
I've never been drippy, and can they help me get drippy?
I mean you might have almost been drippy at one point, but it is fleeting. It is a temporary thing. But Stitch Fix has experts. Those experts know how to take everything that you are and make you look good. And the way they do that is by having you fill out a little quiz, real short, and it gives an idea of what suits you, what kind of budget range you're working with, what type of clothes you wear, and how they form. And with that information, they can get to work finding the stuff that's going to look pretty good on you. Over 1,000 brands and styles that you know and love. They can show you head to toe outfits, top to bottom, so you can even, yeah, it's not just piece by piece. It's the whole look, the whole fit, as they say. Um, and yeah, it skips you all the trouble of going around and shopping here and shopping there and trying to figure it out. They get it suited to your size, and everything is customized and perfect, ready to go.
Do they
Um,
have advice for somebody like me who is sporting a male maternity look, let's say?
they, yes, I would imagine if you
Don't
are
think they'll call it that.
no, but they do have advice for Mpreg. I'm sure.
Hmm.
We can figure that out.
You can take that to the bank.
There's all kinds are ready to be stitch fixed. Um, yeah, so get on in there, check them out, um, and then of course see how they can make you look a whole lot better. If you go over to stitchfix.com/superbeast. Stitch Fix is offering our listeners $20 off their first fix. So that's stitchfix.com/superbeast for $20 off today. One more time, stitchfix.com/superbeast. Um, I appreciate the range of sizes there as I'm looking like, man, I sometimes you go for that comfort 3XL, but recently I've been able to get the 2XL,
Yeah, man.
and as those numbers change, I need that range to breathe with me, you know?
I feel like I was at 3XL one point, and right now I'm on XL, and I have like a couple of the old 3XLs, and I'll put them on, and I'll be like, man, I was fat as fuck.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
No two ways around it.
Yep. And I think I'm just permanently going to be more comfortable in baggier clothing than I am in tight clothing. But regardless, uh, that's what it is. Thank you, Stitch Fix. Okay. And let me just make sure this is correct.
What the fuck was that?
Let me just make sure this is correct, is what I said.
No, oh, I heard a beep. I think it was chat.
Oh,
I don't know. My computer yelled at me.
Yeah, this week the podcast is sponsored by Factor. Factor is here to help you save time and on your to-do list of things you're tackling over the new year with ready-to-eat meals delivered straight to your door. Getting Factor lets you skip not only the trip to the grocery store, but skips the chopping, prepping, and cleaning up too. They've got fresh, never frozen meals ready to eat in just 2 minutes, so all you have to do is heat and enjoy. No matter what your lifestyle is, they got meals like Calorie Smart, Vegan and Veggie, Keto, Protein Plus meals on the menu each week, prepared by chefs and approved by dietitians, so all the ingredients you need. So with 34 chef prepared, dietitian approved weekly options, there's always something new to try. Plus, you can round out your meal and replenish your snack supply with 36 plus quick bites, smoothies, juices, satisfying add-ons. They got vegan and veggie options as well. They got Factor options, and again, instead of takeout, you can get that food that's ready to go in just 2 minutes. So check them out. Head to factormeals.com/castle60 and use code castle60 to get 60% off your first box. That's code castle60 at factormeals.com/castle60 to get 60% off your first box. Thank you, Factor. And I think, yeah, that's it. All right, what's going on?
China's fucking mad at Blizzard, like real mad, like wow, fucking super mad.
But also, Blizzard is mad at China too. So, end result is, of course,
The fucking tantrum in the video game business that I've never seen in my life.
Overwatch, Diablo 3, Hearthstone, and World of Warcraft are going offline in China probably forever.
Yeah, they're fucking dead.
Doesn't seem like they can get the like they it's escalated to a point where it's a giant news story at this point, and Jesus Christ, if this article would stop bothering me, I'd be able to get to it. But
Blizzard
essentially,
a regulatory issue with publishing in China.
NetEase has always been their local partner because you have to work with a local partner in China for publishing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And they've always had a collaboration contract that they would agree to, whatever terms business-wise to, whatever cuts get made or, so on to Blizzard says, here, take our game, do this and localize, and then they handle it. For whatever reason, they cannot come to that agreement this time around. The time has come to renew the contract, and according to both sides, discussions have fallen apart.
So I went and looked into like what is the specifics of it falling apart, and it appears to be that Blizzard doesn't really want to work with NetEase, but they gave NetEase like, oh, we'll extend the current contract by 6 months, but that's very clearly just to give Blizzard the time to find a different publisher and just kind of use NetEase as like a stepping stone to go work with somebody else.
Mm.
And
Also, I imagine
NetEase,
to avoid having the games go down,
yeah,
right?
and NetEase does not care for that.
Mm-hmm.
So they torpedoed all agreements. Everything's going down. But then they decided that man, NetEase knows how to burn a fucking bridge. Because they took all the Blizzard merchandise, including some gigantic statue, and just live streamed themselves destroying it with sledgehammers.
Yeah, this is the way a corporate partnership dissolves between America and China. Then, what's kind of wild is that there is a branch of Blizzard called Blizzard China.
Yeah.
And they too are like involved in the contract extension and trying to figure out how to handle this stuff. And I guess the
Not doing a good job.
NetEase's president says one day, when what has happened behind the scenes, what has happened behind the scenes could be told, developers and gamers will have a whole new level of understanding of how much damage a jerk can make.
Oh man, that's so. There's a bonus. So at the live event in which they were destroying all the Blizzard property that they were handing out green tea smoothies to everyone, which I had to be explained to what the significance was. Green tea is something that you call somebody who pretends to be nice, but is actually secretly a massive fucking piece of shit. It
Ah.
means a two-faced nice person.
Okay.
So they're giving out Blizzard green teas to just really, really salt the earth on it.
Well, I imagine that the deactivation of the servers and such, from Blizzard's perspective, Blizzard China is probably going to just find that new partner and see if they can get themselves up and running again. But yeah, scorched fucking earth with NetEase then.
So, you know what's really interesting? So Blizzard put this massive amount of resources and dev time into, man,
Overwatch
the
2.
Chinese market. It's going to open up. We're going to make a shit zillion dollars. And we're seeing this now. There's no way they didn't know or see about this a while ago that, the Chinese market isn't working out the way it was supposed to, right? And now they're trying to get bought by Microsoft. Like, it feels like they saw that happening and they wanted to get bought by Microsoft before it all fell apart.
Before this, yeah.
But the FTC, like slowing the deal down at least, has made it so that, like, yeah, no, that shit fell apart like way before the deal got done.
And your game's being killed entirely in a massive economic region probably is call for reevaluation of some of that deal.
This feels like a real I'm changing the deal, pray I do not alter it further kind of situation.
Or at least like the inspection of the goods upon the initial acquisition terms has changed.
This was supposed to come with one World of Warcraft in China.
Yep. And now there's a statue in pieces being handed to us in a box. Yeah.
Also, there's like all sorts of varying little pieces to this.
Sure, there's the human element where there's people going, now that these games have gone down, I have to say I haven't been really giving my wife enough time. So now that World of Warcraft is gone, I would like to make amends, says someone who was an addict that was playing many hours a day. There's little human stories of people going, oh, the game is down and the outside world, the light is piercing my eyes.
There's also the element of this is now the second video game related business venture into the Chinese market that has like gone disastrous due to a change in fortune. The first of which being Hololive. with all that fucking nonsense
Mm-hmm.
over Taiwan.
Mm-hmm.
But my favorite little tiny piece of this story is the trailer that came out 4 days ago for Tar Island. Have you
What's
seen
Tar
this?
Island? No. What is that?
Oh, I'm a fucking idiot. It's called Terraceland.
Sorry, explain. What is that?
Here, it's an MMO coming out from China, from a Chinese developer, called Loke JY Games. It's the next gen MMO for mobile and PC, which I am now going to post a link to you, Wooly, so you can skim it for literally 4 or 5 seconds when you get to it. This was announced and the trailer dropped simultaneous to WoW being kicked out of China, which is great timing because this is the most blatant Chinese clone of anything I ever seen. Tar Island or Terraceland is just literally fucking World of Warcraft made by China. It's just World of Warcraft. It is just Chinese World of Warcraft.
You gotta wonder if like, are these things like they're in development at some point, but is it just like, and now's the time to pull the trigger?
Yes,
Because this is
I
going.
think
This
that
is
is exactly what it is.
we had this ready and waiting.
I
Yeah.
think they were looking at like when to put this out,
Yeah.
and then fucking Blizzard's dead. Fucking put it out right now.
No, this armor style, these
Wooly,
weapons.
as somebody who plays
it's-
MMOs, right? I've played a lot of World of Warcraft back in the day. I play a lot of 14, and I've dabbled in most of them. I would tell you that every single thing in that trailer is stolen from something else.
Damn.
Like it's as
They
specific.
Don't care, dude. They
Wooly,
don't
it is
care.
it is as specific as the AoE indicators on the floor are the same shade of orange as the ones in
Oh, the little
14.
boxes. Yeah. Okay. Oh,
They're
14.
the same shade
Not
of
just
orange.
WoW. Okay.
Like China doesn't give a fuck.
Never one. Not like it's. Damn, dude. That's crazy. You made this. I made this.
Doesn't give a shit.
It's
That being said, yeah, this game looks cool.
yeah. There's the extra layer that is like there's the we're just copying it layer, which is what we've all known. But this is we copied it years ago and we've been waiting to just press the button.
We've been waiting for the original to get kicked out of the country
to just to get ours started,
so that we can be the direct replacement.
Yeah. Incredible.
So what I'm expecting is for this game to look pretty. It looks pretty. Be interesting.
Sure.
Have cool action combat like Black Desert, and the worst interface you have ever seen in your fucking life. I don't know how familiar you are with Korean MMOs and Chinese MMOs, but it's always like, wow, look at this cool action combat. Every menu makes you want to kill yourself. It's the worst.
I've heard. And does that also go hand in hand with like the most obscene grinding ratios and levels that like are asking you to stop being human to accomplish anything?
Not necessarily. It can go either way.
Okay.
Ironically enough, I think the worst MMO grind I have ever encountered or seen was for a game called WildStar. Was that Korean? I'm not sure. WildStar MMO. WildStar is dead. It was an NC Soft game by Carbine Studios.
Mm-hmm.
WildStar had like a fucking 28 step process to unlock the raid. that was like, grind this out, now attune to this, now attune to that, now fucking go get. It was like, I saw a chart of it once, and it was the most disgusting thing I've ever seen in my fucking life. It's awful.
Well, in a situation where, Chinese players no longer have an alternative,
What are you gonna do? Fucking talk to your wife? Fucking gross.
Sign the fuck up. Could you? I can imagine just to like, hey, by the way, just use your BattleNet login. Don't worry.
Oh man! Oh, that'd be fucking awesome.
Just, hey guys, it's okay. We got you. Wait, when did we? Shh. Don't worry about it. Oh, okay. Well, there it is. It's all right there. They knew.
Weird.
I guess that's pretty convenient. Anyway, yeah.
Yeah, so like I gotta say, this is like the most stolen in a while. I've seen a lot of stolen Chinese shit in video games. This trailer is even down to the fucking like point of like looking like one of WoW's first trailers. Like the specific vistas they're running through are like are vistas from like WoW original back in 2004.
The most recent fucking rip I can think of was that thing that advertised at TGA's that was not gang beasts.
Yeah.
Party animals?
Yeah, not gang beasts.
Like, that was the most blatant thing I think I can recall seeing recently. Shameless.
I forgot this trailer had not murlocs in it. They're little fish guys, but they're not murlocs, guys.
Well, anyway.
City of Dalaran at the end of the trip. God, man.
Yeah, I again, like the situation where they're like, we knew this might happen. Let's go. Let's fucking, I'm sure having no alternative, having a ripoff will do just fine.
I think the situation in which they did not know this was going to happen, and were sitting on this WoW clone and getting ready to show it off, and this just happening to coincide, I can only imagine how fucking stoked everyone in that office would be.
Mm-hmm.
Our only competitor, the thing we ripped off, is now banned. Fuck yeah.
They smashed the statue just to roll in their own slightly different, legally distinct version of the same character. Like we rolled in the new statue and we have the different. I
think Blizzard, everything to do with Blizzard is the funniest copyright thing ever in its whole history. Warcraft is supposed to be Warhammer.
Mm-hmm.
Warcraft 1 was actually Warhammer, and fucking Games Workshop backed out, which gave Blizzard the ability to make a legally distinct, massive ripoff of the entire Games Workshop catalog forever.
Mm-hmm.
Which fucking oops. And then
I will open one of my 6 mouths and sing the song that ends the earth.
Right? And then this shit, like every single fucking person and their mom stole WoW's art style.
Yes. Like that became the look of PC fantasy.
Yeah. And now just like, just kicked out and directly stolen. And then on top of that, my favorite version is Warcraft characters based off of Warhammer characters in Dota being turned blue or having a hat added to them so that they're now Valve characters.
God damn it, man. Yeah, like whatever. Like if you're down with the idea of a character and you're just happy to see the idea represented, then so be it, man. Hey, it's Karate Gi Man. Happy to see you. Can you
It's
do the
not the
punch?
Skeleton King, dude. It's the Wraith King. Totally different.
Yeah, if I again, as somebody, I care a lot about like the fucking design and concept and aesthetics and art shit. So like that bothers me way more than I imagine a lot of people. If you're someone that's just like, okay, mechanically, does it do exactly what the other thing did? Okay, well, fuck off. We're doing it.
I
You know,
I
it
think my
scratches an itch.
favorite. I think my favorite run around variation of this is Heroes of the Storm comes out, and Leoric the is in it, and Leoric is a big skeleton man that comes back to life when he dies, and people are like, "Yo, this is just a ripoff of Wraith King from Dota, who's a big spirit man who comes back to life when he dies." Who is the copyright legally distinct version of the Skeleton King Leoric in Warcraft 3 Dota. And like we get all the way that the people who made the character are putting the character out and be like, this is just a ripoff. And it's like, well, that's how Warhammer felt when Blizzard would put their shit out. It's like, oh my god,
All right.
fucking hilarious.
Other stuff. So, yeah, we'll see what happens if Blizzard China gets their stuff going with a different company, and then now it's actually a battle.
We're Blizzard China. We're putting out World of Warcraft. No, there's no relation to Blizzard in California.
So, when we first got to take a look at Marisa, Manon, and JP in Street Fighter, there were a bunch of really badly played matches that were showing off the dynamic mode that was like, hey, that's, cool to show the feature off, I suppose, but anyone who's trying to figure out what the fuck these characters do and how they work in the game had a really hard time figuring it out because it was just jumping and doing the same button.
Look, I did a sweep.
Yeah, it's like showing off a new character and showing off that, hey, we have a whole new control system that is like encouraging button mashing. Don't do that at the same time, please, because
I think
like we're hungry for information. Just use the ones we know and then look how the system works and makes things happen. Don't reveal them and then go here, do some mashing, and that's how.
This is a really common problem with fighting games where they go, hey, here's your first new look at new character in a fighting game played by a comedian and an 80-year-old woman.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
and listen, as one of the people who played Strive early and was like, my gameplay was going to be judged as like the, part of the like assessment of what this game would be like. Me and Octopimp did our Kai versus Potemkin set back at Arc Revo super early. So I spent the 3 fucking days doing everything I could to make sure that like as a scrub, I want to just represent some ideas of what this character does and do some shit that's kind of cool, if you're, anyways, the point is that we had 3 matches that were kind of worthless to go off of, unfortunately, when it came to information for those new characters. They have since rectified that with some match footage of devs playing DJ versus Dhalsim, Manon versus Marisa.
Oh, I didn't see the DJ Dhalsim one.
And JP versus Blanka. And they're fucking great fights because people that know what they're doing make the characters look exciting and show off some shit that is really fun about Street Fighter 6. There's also a new meter that's like hanging out under there's a new little thing for some characters that's hanging out under the life bar there. Not quite sure.
You mean the stars?
There's the little
like the little asterisks?
What was it?
I think those are just like placeholder names.
Was it? Because there's the unique character systems, and then no, not these flagged videos. Ah, shit. Oh, was it just?
I gotta say, people uploading like 10-second clips of some events footage only to have their channels killed by Capcom, only for Capcom to
Yeah.
upload like the exact same footage one
Yeah.
day later is silly as hell.
Extremely. I mean, I have to assume they have a company that's fucking out there being cap cops about the whole thing. But anyway, okay. So if that was just their name placeholder, then yeah, never mind. I was being silly. But there's so you can see most excitingly in the Marisa versus Manon match, like the absolute fucking beast that is Marisa with her theme. Her theme song is the fighting style that Urian and Gil use, which is Pankration, right? You can just get a look and see what is going on damage wise. Holy shit, man. She gets a crumple at one point with a drive impact, and then moves in, does a charged Gladius, which is the double punch, and that does like a solid 33%. She then rushes up to Manon, gets in her face, and like does the counter, which is the scutum, I think it's called. It's a statue of like basically like the first like Greek wrestling, you know, and it's this particular pose of like one guy standing over another with the foot over the head and a punch about to come straight down. She does that shit, and again, another like 20% clean off of a bad guess on a counter.
So everything about Marisa is like, hey, I like to play big characters, right? Usually that's a grappler. But I also like to play big characters that are just big and bully the screen.
Beef. Yep.
Marisa bullies the screen. Gigantic normals, armor on all her EX.
And she's coming for you, you know? And also a down input for her main move. This is the weirdest. But then, of course, we get to see some of Manon's stuff. Manon can do some basically invincible dashing up grabs that just straightforward and you're got. So Manon is going to be fucking chucking people left and right. She's got some decent range as well with her insanely long legs.
It's a fancier Abel.
I mean, I wouldn't even go for the Abel at this point. I'm not. We're taking that entirely out of the equation. She is a grapple dancer, and her grapples not only do they have invincibility and range, but they get better as you land them. So each time you do one,
that's what's happening. Oh man,
her meta system goes up, and as it increases, the next grab does more, and the next grab does even more. So,
that's a great way to make grabs scarier the more they happen.
Consistently getting terrifying. They get worse and worse. Yeah, that's what she's got going on. And then one of the just fucking, you want to look at the style and grace, man. Marisa lands her level 3, and it is the non-critical art version, so you don't see the follow-up, but at least the initial one, just one big fucking business punch, right? And to the wall you go, and then the slow, and like you immediately, you're crumpled off the wall, you're splatted, and she's walking up, fist up, like smoke coming off of it, and you start cornered, you know? So like you take like 40% in one hit clean off of that thing, and then you're waking up in the corner.
Just a little tiny taste of Aganos, like not creating a wall, but forcing the wall.
We're taking you to it, you know, or SNK boss syndrome even, you know, take him to the wall.
Or anyone who brings you to the wall is a boss, except for Oswald.
It's so fucking good. It's so stylish.
I saw somebody compare Marisa to Ralph. And I think that actually makes perfect sense.
A bit of that when it comes to, you know, if you're using Galactica Phantoms and you got fast or charged versions. But she's also just gonna, you know, break drive impacts and, you know, force you to stop and address her speed. She's gonna be Abigail, right?
Yep.
Tons of fun with that. Very cool. And then of course that classic win pose. You know, who will help me carry him? He was a soldier of Rome. You know, just that beautiful pickup, man. Yeah, that I'm so glad we got this better footage. Um, we got to take a look at the Blanka versus JP match, and that had some fun stuff. Some stuff that I like
JP
to
is
see.
fucking weird.
JP is gonna fill the screen with shit, and you're gonna be dealing with it. So he is a screen pollution character, firmly.
He is a Blaze Blue character
Sure.
that has found his way into Street Fighter.
Yep. He's got projectiles that are hitting you low, hitting you mid, hitting you overhead. He's got a projectile that is an unblockable command grab. He's got projectiles.
Wait, what does that mean? What does that mean?
Okay, so JP's move list consists of, so far, he's got Balrog's dashing straight, but it's Bison as a stand swiping at you. And he's got Balrog's dashing low, but it's Bison as doing a stand swipe. And then he's got Balrog's overhead smash, so but as a projectile. And you have to fucking play the game of high-low with zoning on top of it. But there's a shorter range version that comes out a bit slower and is just not blockable at all. And if you get hit by that, you get hit by it. It's a dashing projectile grab.
That's just silly as fuck. That is new 13.
So
found her way into fucking Street Fighter.
And furthermore, while all of that is happening, he can also put little cracks in the reality, and the cracks will, after a certain amount of time, attack you by themselves. He can snap his fingers to make it instant, or he can teleport to the crack. So get a little left-right going as you're dealing with the other bullshit on screen. He's going to be fucking stupid. He's going to be an annoying-ass problem. Make no mistake. And in the meantime, Blanka is doing what Blanka does, and so we got to just see what you expect, but a little bit more information. So the key takeaways: one, his little hop forward animation looks pretty cool, and it's fast, and it's a very like, oh shit, he's in my face. So I like that. There was a moment where first of all, you can do EX Blanka Ball to go through projectiles, so I'm happy. I really wanted that to be the case. Always been a fun answer. And then there was a point where JP got hit with a punish counter Blanka Ball. So he was in the middle of doing something big. The ball knocked him on the ground, and he was in a tumbling state, right? Which lets you kind of land an on the ground hit. So what we see is Blanka do a full screen Blanka Ball, knocks JP to the ground. He starts rolling, and then Blanka does a drive rush into slide from full screen, and it hits.
Oh, that's just silly.
It looks so silly, but it works, and mechanically, it's like, yep, punish counter, OTG, use the meter, get it in. It absolutely comboed, and I was like, we're in it. We're here to play. Zoners beware, you know? It also looks as well like the little Blanka chans that he gets don't seem to replenish. It seems like you get 4 for the course of the match.
The match. Okay.
Yeah. Or 5 for that matter. Over rounds, the number did not go back up. So that's what the state of Blanka Chan is. It is a use them wisely over all 3 rounds. And yeah, that's kind of what we saw from that. We also got to see his level 2, because in the demos so far, level 1 was Shout of Earth, right? Stomps the ground. Mm-hmm. Level 3 was he hits you into the air and just does a big electric rolling ball on you. The level 2 is his old V trigger 2, which is called Lightning Beast. And that's the one where after doing a rolling ball on hit or on block, he can do another aerial one in all 8 directions.
Oh, right. Okay, I remember that.
Yeah. And you can basically, almost like Ride the Lightning with Kai, you can pick which direction to go in and do like a second or a third one, and if you're really good, you can go all the way up into the air, left, right, up, down, and get many in a row until you spend the whole meter. The Tailbane Beast Cannon combos, essentially, from Darkstalkers. So yeah, that was really informative as well. Fun to see. That was his best thing in 5 that they gave him. So him getting that back is not surprising.
So I'm looking at the Manon Marisa fight, in and one of the things you mentioned, when you were talking about Blanka ball, sorry, the little Blanka chans, I wanted to check. Yeah, Manon's meter for having the good throws is also over the course of the match.
Fuck. Oh man, you get tossed in round 1 a couple times, and round 3, you're still gonna be afraid. Yeah, yeah. There you go. Over the course of the match, interesting. Because Kimberly has to search for her her sprays as you go. Stuff like that could be limited however they want it to, but in this case, it seems like they're like, no, 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 this is for the whole set. Okay, well,
That's going to be a thing, is characters that
buff
multiple
over the set.
Hakons,
Sure, sure.
multiple characters that are getting stronger or weaker over the course of the entire match.
And then we got to see DJ versus Dhalsim, and that was really fun because Dhalsim has been an evolving character over the years. We've seen him go through a bunch, and now he's just like this crazy version that has like all the tools they all the new things they gave him from 4 and forward. Yoga Mummy and fucking High Tower and yoga flames that have different arcs and stuff like that. He's got all of that
Meanwhile,
shit.
I'm watching the footage and he's doing teleport into tick throw, just
Classic.
like every
Yep.
other
Yep.
version of Dhalsim.
DJ is drastically different now. And this we could kind of tell from some of the earlier footage, but watching it in a full match, it's like, okay, yeah, they want to make him distinct from Guile, right? So his fireballs max out. Like you have Light Punch doing a fake version fireball, and medium and heavy both do a double fireball, like King double
Repukins
you
out
know
here.
Venom Strike. Yeah. It's kind of a massive commitment to like throw out 2 fireballs like that if you're getting jumped in on. But if you space properly, it's amazing zoning.
It also means that in Fireball versus Fireball or Sonic Boom versus Sonic Boom, assuming everybody's just throwing out their normal one,
he wins.
He's gonna win
Yes.
every exchange.
Yes, DJ wins the fireball war by default unless you fucking space close to him and or spend meter to get through.
Yeah, but then you're gonna spend meter to even out.
Yeah, and if he EXs and he has 2 EX fireballs that are both higher in strength, then you're losing again.
It is strange to be looking at DJ and look at like the game's Fireball King.
Well, I don't think so. I think what that does is it allows him to keep up with Guile, because Guile is unquestionably the Fireball King with the way you can do Sonic Blade into Sonic EX Boom. The amount of durability and speed on that is unchallengeable, but DJ with 2 EX fireballs can probably challenge it, right? So that's fun. Fake fireballs are also really, really strong in fighting games. Anyone that can do that and make you react or jump can blow you the fuck up. So that's fun for him. Yeah, his new move sequence, Just Cool, is just a stylish little back sway into follow-ups. It adds a little stank on his moves, and DJ just looks like a fucking interesting character. Also, his double rolling Sobat is now a Hadoken motion instead of a charge motion.
Oh, that's a big change.
So he's got some stuff that is not even gonna require him to hold down back. Yeah, interesting. I recently found out too, we've been calling it Rolling Sobat as the name of the move from Guile and in Street Fighter and in fighting games in general. Terry Bogard does one too, but
yeah,
it's that's how they like listed it as on the move list in like early Street Fighter, but it's actually called a savate. It's like a type of kick, and I want to say it's Portuguese name or so, and it was just like savate into Japanese became sobat. And so now we've been saying rolling sobat for years.
Oh,
but it's supposed to be savate. Yeah.
Well, too late now.
French. It's French. Excuse me. Yes, it's from the a French kickboxing thing. True. Thank you.
It's too late now.
Way too late now. Cool. So yeah, if you wanted to get a better look at those characters and what their moves were like and how they really played, check out those dev matches. And if you wanted to just simp on Marisa, go watch that level 3. She fucking stands in front of you looking down as you're on your knees, like just taking her in. You know, like they know what they're doing. They know what they're doing.
When are they going to show my dog in the game?
They're waiting, man. They're waiting.
Also Cammy, I guess.
That too.
But Cammy leaked out, like Cammy was like the first character to leak in a bunch of footage, so then it's Cammy. But when is my dog Zangief going to be in the game?
But the longer they wait to reveal Cammy, the more comics we get of Jury shitting on her for not getting announced yet. So
every time I see these characters getting all like, so I see Marisa. Sorry, not Marisa. I see Manon get a mechanic where her command grabs get stronger every time she does them. That's a crazy mechanic to give to a grappler. And now my brain goes, what nightmare shit are they giving Zangief? Like, seriously.
Yeah, you piece by piece have to build the USSR back, and once you complete the full map, one command grab wins the round. The Glasnost system.
I'm just thinking. I'm like you know, Clark's fucking Argentine backbreaker,
and
how it has a version that just tanks a hit.
Yep,
and just does the
as of 13 and 12. Yep.
Yeah, that doesn't really have a precedent in Street Fighter a whole lot. There's Zangief's running bear grab that does that.
Bear grab does that, but then in 5 as well, the muscle armor walking, you know, could set up situations.
What if he just had a hit of armor on certain versions of the SPD?
Look,
just one jab worth of armor.
He's gonna get something, and you're going to like it.
Yeah, but I don't know what it is. They need to tell me what it is, though.
He's also going to continue to have combo into command grab, which is that's the world now. We live in a world of press buttons and end in an SPD.
It's a weird world. Can I get Green Hand back? I'll take Green Hand back instead of all that other fancy shit.
Green Hand is an install that stays active for a short while, but it lets you do a Green Hand SPD.
Oh, you know, I'm just thinking, you know, it'd be a good super for Geef is not, it can't be Mecha Zangief because he's not going to be a robot, but like armor, like the fucking armored state.
Yeah, well,
they should have a button for Zangief where when you hit it, you win the match.
Yeah, there you go. I was gonna say Ultra Armor like breaks games in ways that like we don't even finish that sentence because, you know, nonsense. But we'll see. I think though the fact that they're holding back his even reveal at all means like something insane is coming. Like we saw like the design, but like gameplay wise, they're gonna go crazy. I don't know. Anyway, good shit over there. Okay, what else is going on?
I wonder if it'll be possible to like mod him to like have a horrible dog face.
Or like take the bear outfit on his back where he wears the bear hood and just turn it into a dog hood for sure. For sure. No question. They've already put like fucking Maria Rose into the game as a modded character. You can do anything.
Wait, the fucking Shadow the Hedgehog girl?
No, the one from Dead or Alive. That's not Lucky Chloe.
Oh, right. Okay. Marie Rose.
Yeah. So.
You said Maria Rose. My brain created a combination of Maria and Amy Rose.
Well, the other one. Anyway. It is my pleasure to congratulate Warthunder on being the first
Yes.
video game to be classified as a risk on a background check. Because as we continue to follow this story, there have been many more instances of exposed security threats on Warthunder frames. Once again, so many that it's suspicious, because it can't just be people arguing for clout. It must be actual leaking for people that want to get leaks, because it's kind of like it's starting to lose all semblance of cromulence here. But someone posted in Warthunder, "Congrats guys, we did it. A friend of mine got a job at Raytheon, and as a part of security clearance, a PI has to investigate the person to call up witnesses and friends and so on. I was on a contact list. I got a call asking basic questions, like would they overthrow the government or crazy shit like that. And then he was asked, does he play Warthunder? Warthunder is now officially a risk to national security."
Yeah, this rules. I saw people talking about this on that thread, saying that it may in fact actually hurt recruitment for these types of places, because people that sign up for the army, people that sign up for defense contractors, a lot of them are massive fucking military nerds.
Absolutely. You're
And being
passionate
told,
about
like,
this shit.
hey, do you play this thing that is the reason why you would want to join up? No.
Well, really, it's like, can you control your passions to not argue to the point where you're releasing documents?
No.
No.
No, I can't.
You know, then it's like that's what it comes down to. Like, maybe we can use your powers, but also we need to like leash your account and monitor your posts on the Warthunder forums. It's insane. But here we are, because yeah, that has brought, I want to say, the count up to 11.
Yeah. I'm just thinking of some CIA operative being yelled at by his boss because he went and argued on a forum that James Bond isn't realistic because we would actually do this. It's like, you can't tell people we did that.
But I won the argument, sir.
You have exposed a war crime. You're in the box now.
Yeah, Warthunder.
Wait, we're up to 17 different security leaks as of today.
Jesus fucking Christ. The last I heard was 11.
Yeah, that was like a couple days ago.
My mistake. How dare I reset the clock? Okay.
I feel bad for the devs for that game, because like every time this happens, they like get into this weird situation where they have to try and unhear it because they can't apply any of it, because then they're like trading on like foreign secrets or something. It's gotta be stressful.
But because I just imagine, like, for every genre, there is this, right? The pinnacle of the simulation, where people on forums for Flight Simulator are arguing about real plane parts. People on the forums for Project Cars are arguing about the way the engines work in real vehicles. I'm certain, you know? But it never, like, how often does it overlap with stuff that is, like, not just, like, a corporate secret, but, like, straight up, like, a military thing, you know? Like, it's just, if this is the ultimate, if Warthunder represents the end of where all war simulation people end up, like, this... like, is there also an equivalent on some other, like, countries' forums where the biggest war nerds are leaking their documents for their country? You know?
Man. I can just see, like, there's a bunch of Russian operatives just currently shit posting in the Warthunder forums about how fucking lame and overpowered American anti-tank weapons are, just hoping somebody goes, actually, they're bullshit. They don't work if you do this.
It's fucking... remember GoldenEye? Remember Boris?
I do.
It's fucking Boris on the other end of the computer. I am invincible. Just, like, absolute stupid, just, like, omni geek, fucking nerd to the end that just can't control it. Yeah. Anyways, God bless. We'll keep the watch on the Warthunder security risk as we go on. A couple other things were announced. How about this one? Fucking the radio silence has been broken. GRANBLUE Fantasy versus Rising has been announced. The reason why there was no rollback and anything else at last Evo is because they're announcing a full-on follow-up game.
Yep. And the follow-up game needs rollback to power its Fall Guys spin-off.
There you go. So new features include crossplay, fuck yeah, rollback, enhanced graphics, new story content, new stages and characters, a new mechanic called Ultimate Skills, and a fucking Fall Guys mode inside of the little online lobbies. So there you go.
Hooray!
Good.
We got breaking news as of 30 minutes ago. Adult Swim will be continuing Rick and Morty without Rick or Morty.
Wow. Okay. What does that mean?
I don't know. It just means that Justin Roiland will not be a part of that show going forward. They have locked their tweet about it. They are not taking questions at this time.
What the fuck does this mean?
Everyone's reaction is the same on social media, which is like, okay, yeah, I get it. I get why. Because Justin Roiland was all that creepy shit and whatnot. But how? Literally how?
So it's just the rest of the family? The Jerry Show? It's just
Chris Parnell's time to shine!
It's the Jerry Show. That's it.
No, it's gonna be Dan Harmon's clone incest show.
Wow.
You know what I would really respect a lot? You know what I would really respect a lot? If the 7th season opens up with Rick and Morty sitting in a chair, just sitting there watching TV, and then they just both get shot in the neck.
Yeah.
And then go gurgle, and then it just smash cuts to, I fixed our throats, Morty, but it didn't work right. So now we sound like Archer. We sound like Archer.
Like
H. John Benjamin. We sound just like H. John Benjamin.
Oh, okay. Sure, I guess. I mean, like, I imagine that's fucking wild news. I'm really surprised that's the road. But at the same time, I don't know where those shows are or what they're at.
Now they're at a lot of incest.
Well, I can imagine that the massive reformula or massive switch up couldn't be the worst thing in the world, from the outside perspective looking in. But also, it's the world where you can do anything and it can get away with it. So yeah, I guess it's just gonna become something else then. Huh. Okay.
I'm seeing somebody in the chat say there's literally a giant incest baby named Naruto. And I can't tell if that's real or not.
Yeah, it is. I saw the episode where that happens.
It is? Are you serious?
Yeah.
All right. Okay, fine.
Yeah, Roseanne is dead. Now the Connors live on. Here we go.
Hey, Wooly, I gotta ask you a question.
Oh, okay. I had a really good fucking follow up, but go for it.
I saw the strangest TikTok, and I had to go check, but I couldn't get much experience. I couldn't get much answer on it, and it was just this dude doing the weirdest fan cam. That was, yo, Sasuke's been fighting this dinosaur for like a week. What is going on? To what I have to ask, why is Sasuke fighting a velociraptor for weeks now?
I couldn't fucking hazard a guess, but I'm going to. I'm going to say because Boruto and time fuckery are a thing. Boruto involves time fuckery as well as the true space race evils coming into play. So perhaps there is Sasuke being dropped into various times trying to fight his way home.
I saw folks talking about that Boruto has apparently gone off the rails. I saw the idea floated that it has gone so far off the rails that apparently it is not an uncommon like ask that they just have everyone wake up out of the infinite Tsukiyomi again.
I mean,
and just be like, yeah, none of that happened.
look, the formula is pretty clear at this point. If you're this far in, you don't care about things making sense. You just care that there's another big villain that was truly behind the last one all along, and that fighting that will get you your latest power up. That's all that needs to happen. Like, you're already this far in. Why would you continue to complain about these things that it never had to begin with?
Because it's fun. It's more fun to complain.
You know, anyone who's left in that audience is like, you deserve what you get. Like, there's no way around it. Anyway, I was gonna say, speaking of fucking things that ought to be canceled. Netflix says they have never canceled a successful show.
They should have fucking spontaneously combusted as they uttered that.
So there was a sit-down interview with some of the execs and the CEO, and they've been talking about how their policies have been poorly received in terms of shows getting re-upped and such. And here's what they had to say. We've never canceled a successful show. A lot of these shows were well-intended, but talked to a very small audience on a big budget. The key is for you to be able to talk to a small audience on a small budget and a large audience on a large budget. If you do that, you can do that forever. So
I don't know how to even respond to that because it's just an outright lie.
Well, the thing that immediately gets asked is, what is your metric for success? Right? How do you read those numbers, and what are the numbers for a given budget that you mark as, oh yeah, this is good or this is not? There are some things that, you can only just assume, okay, behind the scenes, you guys say that it didn't hit this whatever benchmark, and that's your cancellation point for something. Fine, but like, what about the part where you guys did a shitty job in your release structure for a show? What about the part where Netflix itself released something in a way that had zero chance for it to be a success?
Hey, Wooly, if all you guys buy the Umbrella Chronicles, we'll make another Resident Evil 4 type game on the Wii.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you only bought 2 million of it? Bitches. Here's another light gun shooter, you fucking idiots.
Devil May Cry 4 needs 13 million copies sold to be considered a success. We only hit 9. What a failure.
I believe it has, in fact, actually sold 13 million now.
Sure.
But, like...
Yeah, special edition is a whole other thing, for sure.
Capcom's, like... Because we're talking about, Netflix, but, like, in terms of games, Capcom's, like, the worst, right? Like they would publicly say the numbers, and you'd be like, have you lost your fucking mind?
Well, in Devil May Cry's case, it was like, the failure number is the number that is the highest the franchise has ever seen, right? More copies than all the shit beforehand, new highs, but
Oh, no.
below our
Sorry.
benchmark.
There's one worse, Dead Space. Dead Space 1 sold 2 million, Dead Space 2 I want to say sold 5 million, so they said that Dead Space 3 has to sell like 11 million. Which is 5 million more than the first two games combined.
Meanwhile, Okami, legendary fucking game that cracked a fucking a staggering 80K on release, and then went on to move sub 300K internationally or something like that. I want to say 80K in Japan, 300 worldwide.
The only reason
is available, reported to Wii, and then again to HD to Steam.
The only reason I know that anyone bought Okami is because I bought it and I saw myself buy it.
Sure.
That's the only proof that I have.
I bought the remake or the re-release too, just to be like,
oh,
yeah.
I own that game on every release it has ever released on.
Just as a vote. Like, fucking absolutely. I don't know how, but with numbers like that, it got, Yeah. Anyway, so they go on to talk about the way that Netflix works and shit. But
what an out! I like
the rest of it is also just like fart huffing.
Yeah, let's all have a talk about how what you just said is a massive lie without being able to say, "Hey, you're a liar." what is fucking idiots?
Yeah. So fun stuff over there. Anyways, if you are, if you've been tracking the latest in creepy ass streamer technology,
I have.
Nvidia Broadcast can now artificially maintain eye contact. So, for anybody who wants to always be looking at the camera, which I don't. I specifically don't, because when I decide to, it's a conscious decision that makes way more emphasis in the moment.
Like if you were watching the video version of this podcast, I'm kind of looking around, but I'm going to make my point to go, ah!
And you feel that shit. We emphasize a point when I look at the camera. But anyway, there's tech where you can have AI basically scan and replace your retinas so that they always lock onto the camera. And if they look around elsewhere, they'll kind of move they'll twitch in a natural kind of way, but then continue to lock onto the camera. The usage, of course, is mainly if you need to read, if you have like cue cards or something elsewhere, but you want to not give that appearance. That's the most obvious benefit I can imagine. Secondary, I could see anybody who would want it for disability reasons as well. But
that's not like those are legitimate use cases. Yes. Mm-hmm. However, that's not why it was made. It was made, hey everyone, look, you can maintain eye contact with your chat 100% of the time and look like a freak who's staring at the people in the audience instead of playing the game.
Parasocial up. Could be. My first inclination is towards the former reasoning, but yeah, we're getting there. In fact, we're already there. I mean, I saw that, and I saw another thing recently where they're like, here's the tech for doing face, lip, basically like 3D reconstruction of a face in a movie, and then you do like a deep fake for just their lips, so that when they switch languages or censored, they can do this.
Cool. That's
the same
a good reason for that.
Yeah, the same tech you use to make the Kingdom Hearts have different lip syncing. They're using that in live action now to like replace like censored versions of mouth flaps or to sound different languages. So
Yeah, I also saw the gentleman showing it off put his hand close to his face, at which point his eye started to teleport around a little bit.
it clicked over and then it
Yeah.
clicked back into place.
Um, this this is like the AI art thing reaching into like streaming of like, look, you don't have to do this. It's like, but what if I want like
Mm-hmm.
this wasn't a problem to be solved.
Again, for the two use cases I mentioned, you know, it can that can be useful to have that button, but it's gonna get weird. It's gonna get real weird real quick.
Like you wanna
I would
fucking give me a AI filter to use. Let me fucking scan my body in and fucking put a dummy in my chair and then be able to talk from far away and have the dummy so I can just lie down in the bed
or just
and just
phone
pretend
in.
that I'm here.
Just call in on your phone and have the whole thing simulated. I would turn that on for a full stream just to see how creeped out people would get by it. Because I assure
bet
you,
pretty creeped out.
yeah, give it 10, 15 minutes, maybe even 30. You get really weird, especially when I start playing and I'm actively paying attention to the game and commenting on it.
But I'm
I just
staring right at you.
But I don't break eye contact. That'd get really
I'm
weird.
flying through these menus while I lock eyes with you,
It would
viewer.
be so fucking weird. It's massively uncomfortable. I know you don't want it. You really, really, really don't want it. Anyway.
Like, so here's the thing. Here's the thing, right? So eye contact's really important to face-to-face discussion, right? Some people don't particularly care for eye contact. Like one of the symptoms of autism is that you struggle with eye contact or it's somewhat uncomfortable. And there's like other stuff as well. I don't think anyone wants talking to anybody wants 100% locked eye contact for several hours.
It's insanity.
I don't think anybody wants that.
Like people with issues want that. No, it is insanely confrontational, and most people are comfortable seeing like streams where people are at an angle to some degree, or where you're looking down at a screen or looking around or whatever. It's a little more natural, you know.
You know what? I'm going to call this the bulldog problem. Are you familiar with bulldogs? I mentioned it in the past, but you probably forgot. Bulldogs have a unique form of eye contact to dogs.
What's that?
Bulldogs stare. Bulldogs make eye contact for extremely long periods of time. They don't have the dog thing that eye contact means like aggression. They just stare at you. My dog will stare into my eyes for minutes and minutes and minutes, and it's very cute, but it also makes him look like a psycho. Other dogs hate it. Bulldogs often do not get along with regular dogs because the bulldog will just stare into the dog's eyes unblinking for multiple minutes,
and that's a sign of aggression. Yeah. Oh, damn. Okay.
I can only imagine talking to somebody who's like big eyes opened at me for an hour. Get away from me. What are you doing?
No, there's people I know that that do that as a trained sort of like almost like a politician's trained to like maintain that eye contact to make sure you feel heard, you know, like a social behavior thing. Like there's people that do that that'll lock in extra hard and be like, I'm listening to you. Yes, I'm affirming what you're saying. And
yeah, I tend to. I'll be honest. I tend to do that because when I listen to people, I used to be like dead ass silent.
Okay.
And it looked like I was not paying attention. So I was like, all right, I'm just gonna agree with every fourth or fifth thing that they say. If I am agreeing for real,
sure,
right, so that they know I'm still listening.
But it gets really weird when you're just like whites of the eyes the whole time.
Yeah, exactly.
Can't wait for the tech to drop. Can't wait to try it out. And then, when you're really feeling it, you can try out the latest update that comes right after the eye contact. The high banter setting. You can drag that way up to the top and just be like, damn, these quips are rolling in.
I feel like there's actually a lot to talk about this, despite the fact. So we're talking about Forspoken.
Yeah, it's actually gotten a more like nuanced as time has gone on. I feel because Forspoken demo came out. Plus, the embargo went up for the people who were journalists who were playing the full copies. So people are talking about their full impressions of the game. And something that's been coming in pretty consistently has been, game's pretty fun. The magic stuff is stylish, albeit a little bit basic in that you're just doing like, avatar element bending. But everyone's like, combat's cool. That's the Whedonesque speak in the trailers and such is happening a bunch. Of course, it does lighten up, and it does start. There are instances of it being less egregious as time goes on, especially once the plot gets rolling. But there is tons of moments of it where you're gonna do the eye roll and you're gonna kind of cringe out a bit. And the clips that have been shared around have been a mixture of ones that I'm like, you know what, that's not that bad, that's fine. And then
the one where
some that are just like
to shut the fuck up is actually decent.
Right. That's it. And then there's the ones where it's like just I'm really doing it. I'm really,
I did
and it's
it.
just,
Wow.
yeah.
Oh my God, I did it.
Which has then elicited the counterpoints where some people are saying, hey man, if you were a real person, just suddenly given powers, you would have some bewilderment as well. And it's like,
yeah,
yes.
but I wouldn't repeat that phrase 10 times in a row.
And there's ways to go about it, I suppose. You wouldn't be as nonplussed as a Zagreus would be, certainly, but this has become the entire meme of this game because of how much of the Whedonesque dialogue there is. So
there's two things. One is like people are the sentiment came out of like, you can turn the banter and gameplay down with this feature. To which point most people are like, that's stupid. That doesn't fix the dialogue. That you judge a game based on its default settings, right? Like, this is the amount of dialogue they want you to hear. It also doesn't change the cutscenes, right? That's just the in-gameplay banter. But the other thing, I saw somebody make the point, because people, and you mentioned as well, you called it the Whedoning, the Whedon dialogue.
Whedonesque,
that started to like flood everything around when Avengers came out. And I saw the point made that Whedon was a symptom of the larger problem, and the larger problem is punch up. Is, hey, there's not enough in this that's genuine or sincere or interesting enough to actually be its own story. I mean, we got to get somebody in there to punch it up, make it snappy moment to moment.
So I'd say it is punch up. It's even simpler than that. It's holy fuck, Guardians blew up. What's the formula? 60% comedy, make that 65% comedy, right? And it's like we've had our scenes because the phase one. Think about the early Thor movies. There were jokes. There weren't many.
Yeah. So the comparison the person made was Guardians and Thor 2.
Dark World.
Thor 2 was not punched up
at all.
And you get to see what a Marvel movie without Marvel quips in it looks like, and it sucks.
Kat Dennings is the joke character. She does all the jokes for the rest of the cast, and so the thing about it, of course, is early on, and I've said it every time because I'm somebody who loved that kind of fun dialogue when it was rare early on. When it was I found the quips to be charming and like, oh yeah, okay, people acting like the sarcastic people we know in real life or whatever, and being witty. When characters aren't when it stood out as something a little more unique. Now, when you oversaturate, you get to the point where we are seeing it nonstop, and it's also just like nothing can actually be taken for real or sincerely because everything must be like dismissed emotionally, with this type of tone, you run into this problem. When I'm reading about the intro to Forsaken, or Forspoken,
whatever.
Fuck. Anyway, the setting involves the main character, I believe, like going through a suicide attempt. Right? It seems like that's like a part of the intro is like her, like, getting whisked away, like from like a world of extreme, just like darkness and such. No, am I crazy on that?
I thought she got hit by a truck and then went to the isekai.
All right, hold on. I read Gene's article on it, and
did you read it carefully?
I read it before we went live, so admittedly, no. I'll straight up cop to that. I did not read it carefully.
I'm gonna go look it up right now. Oh fuck! It's not Forsaken. It's Forspoken. Is this Forspoken? Oh.
Playing as Frey, you're a 21-year-old orphan New Yorker who loves her cat and kicks, performed by the very capable and charismatic Ella Balinska. She's had a very difficult life, and the game doesn't shy away from the fact that Frey is suicidal. This is what I'm making reference to.
Okay, yeah, but that doesn't say that. As she's about to end her... Oh, there we go.
What? Read the rest of it.
Yeah, there it is, yeah.
There's a tenderness in how she cradles her cat, and he cries herself to sleep, unable to escape a merciless life that left her homeless and with a criminal record. As she's about to end her life, she finds a magical and sassy cuff that whisks her away.
Seems...
Why am I being fucking... What are you guys talking about?
Wait, her name is Frey? Probably not as cool as the other Frey.
Did everyone just start, like, going in on something that they didn't actually know, and then we got to this place where we're like, what the fuck, Wooly Rah?
What are you talking about?
God damn. All right. Anyways, so that being the case, I can imagine there being a tone to the story that could be interesting, where someone who's like at their lowest low is now experiencing some wild new shit, and there would
cutscenes now look even fucking weirder now. Who needs suicide? I've got magic powers.
So what I was trying to say is the tone of somebody from that place going into like a whole new world and getting, I guess, finding motivation and things to love again and such, and getting picked up could be an interesting thing, if you wrote it things in that way. But that would need to be a subtle, gradual build from that point, I feel, to really underline that sense of wonder you'd get from having these powers and shit when you're in such a dark place in life, to go straight to 11 on the sarcasm train. Again, I haven't seen this myself, but just it seems like it would be tonally dissonant with a moment like that occurring.
It does seem that way. That all that dialogue that I've seen now seems super weird with this background detail. This game seems fucking weird.
Yeah, I'm looking at chat expecting an answer here, but I don't think that's going to be the way to do this. So anyway, yeah, that's kind of what's been going on with the discussion about it. And it also feels as well that this is just unfortunate timing with the amount they've done here too, because if this came out like 12 years ago, people would have still made fun of it for this over the top level of Whedon-esque dialogue, but it wouldn't have been like the first and foremost thing about the game, because now the discussion of people doing compilations of that just happened in MCU movies is mainstream.
I don't know. I think the only reason anyone is talking about this game at all is because of its weird, cringe dialogue. because it is the only
It's
thing I have seen anyone talk about this game.
It is the standout thing. It is in fact the standout thing, and the marketing didn't do it any favors by introducing it that way and then doubling down as the gameplay goes. But everyone talking about the actual combat and stuff has been saying like, "Yo, it's pretty fun, right? The parkouring and the switching to between the spells, and it takes a while to get all of the abilities, but once you have them, all of that flows into a combat system that, while you've seen it done before, ends up being pretty enjoyable, right?" So it might have just gone by, maybe not the wayside, but gone by as like, okay, cool, that's a fun little thing. Wild when you consider like Agni's philosophy, and the history of that as a whole, because like tech demo doesn't equal compelling full-sized game.
You know what, Wooly? Maybe we're just out of touch. Maybe that's how the kids talk now.
Maybe we're out of time.
It's possible we're just out of touch. If you are a youth, you can let us know if it is in fact just because we are out of touch.
You're out of touch. You're out of time. Well, anyways, in the meantime, I look forward to seeing which Forspoken scenes are not as bad. And we'll hear about that. But yeah,
This game just looks like they wanted to do FF15 again.
But have a real celebrity tie-in to...
Is it a celebrity?
Well, I mean, not huge name. Not quite a Samanosuke to a Yoroni Musha level, or so. But she was a thing. She was a person before that was known.
I'm sure she was. I'm sure everyone who was a thing was a person at some point. Do you mean like an actor?
Yeah.
Wait, is this game FF15?
No, but combat-wise, apparently it is.
Oh, it's the same engine.
Yeah.
Okay, so okay.
All right, and then hey, if any of you gross fuckers out there is able to get your hands on one of the 750 bottles of Mountain Dew's Baja Blast hot sauce, you have an obligation and a duty to crack that shit open and write a review.
Okay.
They're making Baja Blast hot sauce because nothing is sacred.
Hey, do you want to hear my review of a controller that I haven't used or bought?
Mm-hmm.
The PlayStation 5 DualSense Edge controller that costs 302 Canadian dollars has a battery life of 3.5 to 4 hours.
Let's fucking go.
Fucking canceled that purchase.
Yeah.
Fuck that. That
God.
is absurd.
I'm so desperate.
Apparently it comes with a really long charging cable.
I keep my shit plugged in 90% of the time, and I'm so desperate for a DualSense that's like not that's more resilient that I might just bite the bullet and keep it plugged in.
It's probably not more resilient.
But that's my big worry. Okay. Fucking Jesus Christ, guys, with that. I hate it because, like I said, it's a good ass controller when it's working,
Would literally not even be able to get through one stream on that.
Maybe that price will come down or something. That's insane. All right, let's take some letters.
Hey, if you want to send in a letter, send it to castlesuperbeastmail@gmail.com. That's castlesuperbeastmail@gmail.com.
Yeah, Ragnarok64 says you've been using the Hall effect. Dear Necromancer and Biohazarder, you remarked last week on how excited you were for the Nixie Wizard, the GameCube-style controller with no drift magnetic sticks. As those seem to have sold out immediately, I figured I'd let you know that while it appears to be the only GameCube-style controller for Switch with magnetic Hall effect joysticks, it is not the only Hall effect controller for the Switch. There's others like the 8BitDo Ultimate Bluetooth controller and so on. Might be worth looking into. But actually, you have used this before. You might not have realized it, but the Dreamcast controller that Sega used back in the day solved the issue in the late 90s of drift by using the Hall effect sensor inside the Dreamcast controller, meaning that for all its foibles, drift was likely not an issue that would affect it. Also, it means there's really no excuse for any other hardware manufacturers to still be using potentiometer-based sticks that can suffer from drift 20 years later. Just thought about this little note, being it's ahead of its time. The Dreamcast continues to be super interesting. That's wild. This makes a ton of sense now because of all the Dreamcasts and replacements that I've had and fixed and such. There are many old controllers where the Dreamcast stick will not be centered. It'll have a little wobble to it, but it didn't actually cause input to be fucked up when you plugged it in.
Yeah.
It was off center physically, but it started centered normally anyways.
So what you're saying is that in the process of testing and developing the Dreamcast controller, they realized that if you played with it for more than 10 minutes, the fucking analog stick would wobble out and become a piece of fucking dog shit. So they were like, we should probably put in a sensor that lets us keep this being the shittiest piece of plastic you're ever likely to put your hands on.
Actually, I think what he was saying is that the sticks at the time were all pretty bad and fall away to drift over time, but using that tech, you avoid that problem, and that nobody else did what they did, and they should have, because then we wouldn't have this problem today.
I think he said what I said.
If the good controllers used Hall technology, and they had that non-potentiometer solution, we wouldn't have any drift whatsoever. Yeah.
I'm going to reiterate, Dreamcast controller bad.
Sure. Stick tech good.
But it could have been worse, I guess. Yeah.
Could have been worse. Here. Isaac from Texas says, good afternoon, Mr. Staresat and Mr. Versus. Long-time listener, started medical school the past year. You're one of the only podcasts I make time for. Thank you. Mm-hmm. Had a pretty solid understanding of biology and anatomy till now, until a few months ago. But I was 27 years old when I learned that the ovaries and fallopian tubes are just kind of open to the abdominal cavity. Artist depictions don't really do it justice. The ovaries are kind of like a volleyball baton pass of those eggs straight into the tubes when they're ready. While rare, you can have an egg erroneously implanted in the abdominal wall with the other organs. That shit shook me. What are some bodily facts that you learned way later than you would have wanted to that just blew your mind?
I learned via a fucking TikTok like fucking 6 months ago that if you have like abdominal surgery, you know, like big surgery in, you know, you got to get to your kidneys or whatever, right? They got to pull your organs out, like your guts, and just flop them to the side to get at it. And then when they're done with that, they can just kind of put them in wherever, because your body will just sort it itself.
Like a C-section.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You just put them back in there. They'll figure it out.
Damn. just drop it back in the hole. Shake them up.
And
that's crazy.
So when I heard that, suddenly the reality of like instruments and sponges being left in people makes much more sense, because it's not a we gotta put this back to
a formal process.
It's like, yeah, no, just take your arm and just scoop the whole fucking thing back in, like you're wiping crumbs off the counter.
I mean, if you were to go back a couple, 100 years and you'd been split open by a sword and you were holding your shit together and you had no time to organize it. But the fact that you didn't have to worry about where it went was probably a potential lifesaver if you could hold it together until something got to you.
Just kind of mash it back in there.
Nice. That's good. I guess recently learned, because there was a new birth in the family, that
congrats.
yeah, cousin. that the I thought that like you do the whole snip of the umbilical cord, and then like both ends are completely severed, and then they do the little surgery to tie the baby as an innie or an outie or whatever.
Mhm.
But I didn't know that they leave like a whole tail on the baby that actually has to just hang out for a couple days and then fall off on its own. They
Falls off by itself.
Yeah, but they cut it long. Like I thought they cut it to the tip and do like a balloon knot and tie that shit tight. So
Yeah,
when I
and then the bonus is that you want to keep that.
right,
You
and
want to
then
keep that for its sick ass good baby blood
yeah,
for
and
later.
sure, you can eat it or you can use it as an experimental stem cell thing. Mm-hmm. No, I just saw the pictures of it like with the baby, and the baby had it and it was just rotting off, and I was like, oh, that's right. That's a thing, I guess. I just assumed it was normal, and then later on I was like, is this normal? And it's like, no, that's what the umbilical cord process. I'm like, I didn't know they cut it so long and just let it drop off. There must be a reason not to go straight to the tip and just get rid of it right away. I don't know.
It's part of their body at that point, right? Like it's not technically vestigial yet.
But I guess the falling off process is cleaner than the snip and heal.
I don't know. Babies are fucked up, man. We're not done. When you're born, you're not done. You're done like a couple months later because of our
Um,
stupid big brains. Got to come out half baked.
there you go. Okay, let's take another quick one. No name given. Hello, Pat and
Oh
Wooly.
man.
Just wanted to thank you both. My brothers and I loved DMC1 back in the day when it came out. Had a blast beating the game on every difficulty. Had the strategy guide and everything. Then DMC2 happened, and we were so disappointed
Yeah.
that I actively ignored 3 and 4, thinking that the original game was a fluke. It wouldn't be until your LPs that I finally gave 3 and 4 a chance. I can't believe I missed out on 2 amazing video games for 13 years, because 2 let me down so badly. Thanks for introducing me to 3 and 4 and letting me realize that they were in fact very good.
Yeah, but that rules though.
Yeah.
Because you get to just go and be like,
Yeah.
there. You get to just, there's the 2 games, and then the sequel, just bing, bang, boom.
So here's the problem, friend. Video games are that go on as franchises. Sometimes you have to check back in. Sometimes you got to stick your head back in the door just to be like, what's going on? I missed that one. That was terrible. But did they get their shit together? Because sometimes they get their shit together a little later on.
You know, I would really wonder if this person plays sports video games, because like video games routinely improve. They're the only medium in which the newer thing is a routine improvement on the older thing,
Asterisk.
unless you play fucking sports games. Sports games get worse every year
I
since
would
95.
I would argue anything that is annualized is a toss-up, because the King of Fighters franchise is not an upwards bar. There are highs and lows, and you see what they can do under pressure in 12 months. In many cases, they iterate a fresh start into a good product in 3. But like anything that has 12 months to pop out its next version is not going to be a guaranteed improvement over the last one.
Fucking, I mentioned 95, and I saw somebody, man, say NBA peaked in 2013. I'm like, man, NBA peaked in the mid 90s with Shut Up and Jam, and then it peaked again in the early aughts with NBA Street.
Yo, Jam, Hang Time, Street, you're good. NBA on NBC if you really want to get some, if you want to throw that in there too. But it's like, yeah, I'm like, I went in to fucking play. I was doing the stupid wrestling bit for the show, and like playing 2K22 WWE, and just seeing how abysmal that shit was, and then an announcement for the next one just dropped, and it's like, I feel sorry for everybody who's paying for a roster update, because that's all it really is,
Hold on a second. NBA Street Volume 2. When did that come out? That came out the year I finished high school, 2003. So that would be 20 years from now. You can tell an adult that basketball games haven't been good since before they were a sperm. That's how dire sports games have been.
We can technically cut it off at Street Volume 3, but Volume 2 had better music, so fuck it. Volume 2 is the end.
Yeah, no, Volume 2 is the one. It had much better music.
Like, too bad. Yeah, that's fine.
It's fucking dire.
And last one over here. Deep Throat says, is this where I make a joke about your names, or is it here? I don't know. Anyway, dear Naked Woolly and Punished Pat, we all know practically every day for the last millennia, new names, new rumors about MGS remakes, Bloodborne ports, and what have you pop up out of the woodwork. It's hardly a new thing. Rumors constantly circulated back in the days about Half-Life 3 and Duke Nukem, for instance. Where I find it gets interesting, though, is when the rumors circulating constantly, MGS, BB, Silksong, Silent Hill was on that list until recently, but it was actually real. Unfortunately, thanks Bloober. In this crazy hypothetical nonsense world where all these projects actually exist and get announced, what's going to happen there? Are we going to get blissful silence, or will there equally be new nonsensical rumors to rise up to take their place out of the muck? Yeah. So
people are always full of shit.
Exactly. And people are always full of shit, and the number one thing everybody wants is the thing they already know. Therefore, for the entirety of our lives, adult and childhood was childhood, certainly. But from the moment teenager and forward, it's been an exhausting, nonstop, when's a remake of thing. Meanwhile, new things are happening, and you're like, I love those things, but you don't fucking finish them right before you go, but when are we getting it again, though? It's, at this point, so constant, and it doesn't stop, that I have to say it's human nature, right? Familiarity, yay, it's the thing we want. It's just exhausting when it's the only thing you hear over the course of fucking decades. You probably should just stop putting too much weight in any of that and stop caring about it. Check out, because some things will eventually get remade, and when they do, that's cool that they exist, right? They'll, if something gets announced and then, you wait or whatever, fucking Bayo 3, and it's like, is it happening? I know, Pat, you've been like, yeah, that project isn't real. That's not happening, and stuff like that. For me, I'm like, no, it will. It'll just take a fucking long time, and you might not recognize it. But
Woolly Beyond Good and Evil 2 is still coming out.
Whenever that thing comes out, it's not going to look anything like what it was, and it'll probably be a completely different dev cycle, but it'll have that name, and something's going to come out, right?
I think the much more interesting one is that you hear a rumor for a couple years about Half-Life 3, and then, 20 years go by and nothing happens. You go, I guess those were bullshit. Except, you find out, no, some of those rumors were true,
and then things
just didn't
wrong.
come out.
Yes, right.
Hey, Eidos Montreal's making a Final Fantasy game. That's bullshit. Fucking 15 years later, nope, it was real, just didn't happen.
But it's so tiring, because it's like, I remember being around when everyone was asking for a Tactics remake, and then a Tactics remake came out, and now we've waited long enough that people are asking for a Tactics remake again.
Tactics remake is gonna come out, it just hasn't been announced yet officially.
So it doesn't even have to. It can happen, and then you wait long enough, and then the same thing will just go right back on that list. It's never gone for long. This world of waiting for rumors and remakes, it doesn't fucking pay off. Just care when it's real, and stop caring until then.
Speaking of, I'm going to be playing the Dead Space remake later this week. And then next month, I'll be playing the Resident Evil 4 remake.
It's become a lot easier to kind of not care if, Beyond Good and Evil or Skull and Bones or whatever
Skull
the
and
fuck.
Bones. No. I'm going to stop you right there. Skull and Bones is unique, because Skull and Bones only exists by technicality, but must come out. That is a weird situation that's funnier every time they delay. They delayed it again.
Yeah. And then the final version will not even feature sailing. Anyway, I'm like, it's easier to not care as new cool things, both indie and larger profile, get announced to look at. Like, I'm so spoiled for choice with everything that it's like, all right, well, if something I want comes back around, that'll be cool, you know. But if not, you can't care, because I've spent probably most of my aughts from the year 2000 to 2010. I cared a whole lot about things I liked getting remade, and some of them did, and some of them didn't, and it was a waste of energy. Especially when you're in forums, go reading people's fan fiction because they're getting off on you believing the shit they're writing, you know?
I really have to say, becoming an influencer and getting to talk to people who know stuff and finding out that shit that got canceled and will never even be announced is the absolute like dagger to the heart of the rumor mill. That's real? Yeah, and it's dead.
Yeah. I got that 3 years into QA. You know, the first couple years were just, you know, going through whatever projects we get thrown on. And then 3 years in or so, you start to see things that are like, oh, whatever happened to that? Oh, shit, this was a real thing? Oh, my God, nope. You know? And then, like, now you're holding that weight of, like, people can never know how fucking sick that was going to be. But whatever, you know, like you start to realize that's a thing. So yeah, rumors absolutely in some cases are real things. There's a, like, fucking StarCraft Ghost, man. Like, the whole game exists, dude. You know, it was there to completion, and then they fucking did the extra fucking side mission thing in 2 and whatever. But shit like that persists over time because it's like, okay, eventually they're gonna salvage it and bring it back around. But I don't know. I just find my quality of life increased when I stopped caring and obsessing over whether my favorite things were getting remade or not. You know? Will they fix
I mean, it
DMC2?
helps that you can just ask people if they're getting remade and someone will actually tell you.
Yeah. We're
in a somewhat unique position in that specific place.
I would trade off a DMC Ladies Night for a 2 remake. That'd be really fun. It'd be nice to fix that and nice and have a solid fucking continuity to the series of good games. But you know, if not, whatever. Okay, we're moving. Yeah. Anyways, there you go. Don't stress out. All right, Deep Throat. Cool.
Stop caring about things that you can't see.
Mm-hmm. And this applies. I apply this to returning characters and things too, you know. But I'm dead horse. Everyone's heard me go off about this already, so enough. All right, that'll do it.
All right.
We'll catch you next
I hope
week,
everybody
folks.
enjoyed the podcast. This has been the first of many weeks of Wooly intentionally not talking about Dokapon because he's afraid I will ruin it.
No, that's fine. It's really simple. You don't get to kick my door down and bully me into doing stuff that I don't really want to do. So that's about that.
Week 1 complete. Have a good week, everybody.
All right.